Hello, and welcome to a brand new, exciting episode of Video Ditch. It is me, Sam, as always, joined by Nick, and today we have two very special guests and producer Hugh. But our two, our two very special guests today, we got DonnyQ and beatstar, director and community outreach for the VGAs. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much. Very excited to have you guys on. It's always great to have other people who feel the same genuine, perhaps overflowing or too much passion about video games.
Yeah, we're here to have a mutually invested conversation about games, talk about their work, past and present, and
Cool.
I'm angry about video games.
Yeah.
Video games, huh? What?
We're all just a couple of walking, talking rage comics, you know?
Oh, yeah.
We're always just saying the letter F, but never quite finishing the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as we all know, fun. We all like
Exactly.
that's the
Fun
forbidden
times,
word.
yes.
That is truly
Oh,
the forbidden
yeah.
word. Is fun. But
Kids
yeah.
do it.
So for anyone who doesn't know, the VGAs, that is the Video Game Awards. That is a 4chan community project from their video games board, V, where people nominate games for certain awards, and we have both positive and negative categories. So we have least worst, which is how we say game of the year, and then most hated, as in the most hated game of the year, and also categories like, you know, best and worst graphics, best and worst writing, most pretentious indie game, that kind of stuff. So 4chan nominates games for those categories, and they vote on them, and then we hold a video presentation, usually around late February, early March, to celebrate what came out that year, and also to make fun of the people who really screwed it up.
Yeah, and you guys are coming up on 15 years pretty soon, right? It's been going on since 2011.
We finished our 13th show. We're going to be working on our 14th. Probably going to start that in the later half of the year. But it's just been a wonderful journey to be a part of. Our first show was in 2012. It was thought of and created in 2011 in December after the Spike Video Game Awards. So it was basically a community response of people on 4chan in response to that show. But since then, it's blossomed to be a wonderful community project. It's got, independent game developers. It's got skits. It's got bumpers. It's got, a nice intermission. We've got pre-show music. It's a great time.
Yes, viewers and listeners, if you haven't checked it out, they run an excellent production over there. I over the week I was bedridden mostly, so I had some time to refamiliarize myself with their work. And at the top of the show, I like to kind of just check in with everyone, how we're doing. Nick, how are you? How have you been?
How am I? I am excellent. I shotgunned an energy drink and nothing else, so I am operating at 100%.
There you go. Hugh, man, how are you doing? It's been a minute.
Awful. Going through it right now. Bank's about to sell my house.
It's hard down under.
They took the batteries out of all my Wii controllers. It's just been awful.
They took the Wii Motion Plus from you. Yeah.
Yeah, he can't play Skyward Sword.
Well, we appreciate you being here. How about you, gentlemen? How are we doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's been good times. Been rocking with it. Just chilling,
Yeah, we are recording on 420 this year. I don't know if you guys observe the unofficial holiday, but
Despite
That's
being
the-
from Seattle, I do not observe. I instead have a nice can of root beer here with me.
there you go.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so-
yeah. It's good times. Good times, definitely.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
nasty green stuff in here.
Yeah, so I just got back from a movie, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It's that World War II
Okay.
one about stealing
That's
the...
Guy Ritchie, right?
It is Guy Ritchie,
Yeah, okay.
and it is like Devil May Cry, stylish. Let me say that.
Wonderful.
Yeah, like as far as like the writing, no, it's basically one of those like Ocean's 11 or Suicide Squad things. Like, oh, we're coming together to do a job, and like literally they could have just copy and pasted one of those movies and changed the names. I'm here to do a job. We're pulling you out of prison to do a job. I need my guys to do a job. Like, fine. It was a fun time. That's what it needed to be, and that's what it accomplished. So, yeah.
I watched the Fallout pilot or the first episode of the
Okay.
TV series.
Yeah.
And the fucking moment where the marriage gets approved and the good karma sound plays out of the watch. What the fuck?
So are you a big fan of the Fallout series?
I'm an okay fan. I mean, I played 3, played a little bit of 4, played New Vegas. Yes, all the DLCs too. I played the DLC of all the DLCs of New Vegas. I played all the DLCs of 3. But no, I'm the new Fallout fan, which is the worst type. I know. But I was looking at that first episode. I'm like, okay. I'd be ready to watch another. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah,
Welcome to the bandwagon, cowboy.
Yeah, there's a lot of positive buzz we've been seeing around the Fallout series. One of our producers, he gives it a 6 out of 10, but admits that he's, being pretty harsh on it. I think like you, I mean, I was pretty young when the first games came out on PC. So my first introduction to the franchise as a whole was Fallout 3 when I was in middle school. So, it is what it is. You jump in when you jump in, and the nostalgia you attach to it is based off that.
Yep. Yeah, my friends learned that the hard way because I have 2 of them from college. They get into Fallout 3 right away in 2009, and I finally joined them. Let's see, last played April 7th, 2013. So it took me a while to get into Fallout 3.
Okay.
And then, over the past week or two, just total coincidence, nothing else going on in the wide world that made me want to try it. I plugged in New Vegas and gave that a shot.
There you go.
You've got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle, tangle, tangle. Love that song.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that's, just the atmosphere of that, I think, is kind of like why some people edge that over, and the fact that, it has Obsidian working on it and shit like that.
Yeah.
Big Chris Avalon fans out there.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Turns out if a game has good writing, it makes it more enjoyable. I had no idea.
No fucking way.
Oh, wait.
No, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was honestly like
studies on that, I think.
Yeah. You need to get people attached. One side's watching garbage TikTok summaries, the other side's playing like Planescape Torment.
And Disco Elysium, yeah.
Yeah, Disco Elysium.
Oh yeah. Honestly, like I think that's a real schism that's happening in the connected internet society is like some people are going down such specific rabbit holes. It's kind of like a porn rabbit hole. Like you start here and then just get into weirder and weirder shit. Like there's a YouTuber called Cracking the Cryptic, and I know like he probably doesn't want to be associated with what I just said, but I'm sorry. But anyway, he does Sudoku, right?
Okay.
But he's so fucking good at Sudoku that all of these user-submitted puzzles are like, okay, well, this number is going to be part of this equation or part of this word puzzle. So doing Sudoku is just like the final part. The rest of it, he does like 50 minutes of foreplay with these word and game puzzles to figure out what the fuck numbers are supposed to be in here to actually get the Sudoku done. Like, it's really specific shit.
The deeper you go, yeah, of course.
Yeah, because just Sudoku, that's not doing it for me anymore, man. Like you gotta put it behind a thing. Like now it has to fit in a square, and the square has to add up to like 91.
Yeah,
and now do it with your hands
Columbo.
tied. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Before we move on, Hugh, man, any recent media you've consumed that you'd like to share?
Yeah, what do you like in the
Recent
world?
media.
Yeah. What are they airing on the Australian tubes down there, or the tubes, as they say?
Well, we just got this X-Men cartoon, right? Like, it's pretty
Nice.
good. Yeah, like the pacing's really fast,
I believe you're referring to X-Men '97, yeah?
Oh no,
Or
we
are
don't
you
have that
talking
one
about
yet.
like
I was
straight
talking
up?
about the
Oh, straight up the animated. Okay.
We just got the animated one.
Right on. Okay. I would love to talk to you about X-Men '97 when you do
But
get
yes,
to there.
I
Hugh.
have been in the real world. I've been watching '97.
Okay, wonderful. I don't think I've caught the latest episode, but I did finish up catching up to like the Name's Gambit, Remember It moment.
Oh
and,
yes, yeah.
Oh yeah, I like him. He's a Marvel's Capcom too.
Yeah, without speaking about it too much, or maybe with, however long we go on. With the first few episodes, I was like, jumping back in as someone who watched the cartoon as a child way back when. It's like I'm interested, but I don't know like where they're going with this. But then the way they've ramped everything through these episodes, I've been very pleased and invested. I don't know how you feel, Hugh. But that's where
I
I'm
never watched the original one. I just jumped.
Oh,
in.
okay.
So I
He
think
was
I
And
just-
how'd you
Stem cell, I
feel?
believe,
How'd you
back
feel
then.
then
I was like,
about?
what the hell? The bald guy died? What's going on? Why?
Hey,
What the hell?
Yeah, how are they the X-Men without Professor X? Yeah. Excellent.
Magneto, but he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Well, first and foremost, over here at the Video Ditch, we are a video game podcast, clearly. And something we always like to ask our guests when they come on is what their personal history with gaming is. Either of you, I know it's a lot to cover essentially, but if there's anything you'd like to talk about, the formative experiences with video games in your lives, what are the important titles, or anything
Yes.
like that.
What's the
Yeah,
timeline?
how much time do you gentlemen have?
Well, it's pretty early in the day, so
ahead.
we could
Your
go
sun's
on.
shining.
Beatstar, would you like to go first, or would you like me to
My-
give my spiel first?
Mine's gonna be significantly shorter. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go. So yeah, I started out. I think I started my first games when I was about like, I don't know, 6. I had a PS1 at first. I played a couple of games from that. Crash Bandicoot, of course, and then my disc lens it broke. So they ended up selling it to my cross the street neighbors, and we ended up with Super Nintendo, and ended up fucking playing Super Metroid, Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario World, those types of games. Then
Wow.
got the PS2, got introduced to GTA. I started with GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas. San Andreas was amazing. And then, of course, the GTA likes, like True Crime, Streets of LA, True Crime, New York City.
It's a lost art, the GTA clone, I will say.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I think GTA does it right. Some places have done it close while still doing their own thing. Like True Crime New York City has its own fandom as well, But yeah, definitely like just starting with that, and then I remember the Xbox 360, PS3 console wars. That was really interesting times, because I would be fucking playing, Halo 3 and having a great time with friends, and Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and all that. But on the other hand, I had my PS3 over here playing Metal Gear Solid 4 and enjoying the free multiplayer. And then that all changed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
As you know, that all changed when the next console came out, the Xbox One, with the terrible always online idea, which was, I mean, it was ahead of its time, but way too ahead of its time. And PlayStation 4 requiring you to pay for, multiplayer now. That was the little fine... basically the fine print in being able to trade games, use games with your friends and stuff. And of course, they rolled back, the Xbox One proposals. And remember the Kinect that was going to be required too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a disastrous launch back when that
Yes.
first rolled out.
It was
Yes,
very
and
funny.
so, yeah, somewhere along the way, either my PS3 broke or we ended up selling it. And I just started to become a PC gamer. So I had Binary Domain. I started on when I had a PS3, I had Yakuza 3. That was ironically my entry point into the Yakuza series.
Very
But yeah,
similar
just
to
like
mine.
really enjoying a lot of these open world-esque games where there's a lot of stuff to do, and appreciating that, and then also, just really enjoying PCs for a while, and then now everything is on the PC as well. The console wars are dead. Best console is the one you own, or what I mean. Like the best platform you're on is the one you have.
Yeah, totally agree. One question before we get into DonnyQ's. When
Sure.
you played Binary Domain, were you actually
Yes.
using a headset to issue?
Fuck
Oh my
no!
God.
Worst
I love-
decision they ever made is to make that game. They made it a primary voice activation. That was a bad mistake on their part. If they made it optional, that game would have been rated so much higher, I think. But yeah, when you turn that option off and you can just press a button to say yes or no or stop or something like that, it gets the gameplay is significantly better, and it's made by the Yakuza devs, and the way they approach teamwork and collaboration, where if you friendly fire somebody that hurts your relationship score with them, that was pretty well thought out, I think. And at the very
they're very
end,
reactive.
yes, and at the very end, your relationships with all of the people in your party determines whose side you're with when you're fighting the final boss. So I thought that was really, really thoughtful.
Yeah, that's.
I think that's a really cool thing to do in like a kind of like a linear shooter campaign where like the variance comes from the way that you play,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So very cool. That's a
Yeah,
underrated.
I got the same vibe from New Vegas, where like the player is allowed to be an active participant in the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. All right, Donnie, you want to regale us with your the
Sure, well,
saga?
you see, it all
Take us on a
started when
journey.
my great
Yeah.
grandfather, Jeremiah Q, sailed on a boat to America. No. I got into gaming really early. My parents were innovators in not being parents. Not to say they were bad, but you know they learned certain shortcuts, right? So you throw a computer in front of their face, and like that's the default nowadays. You should throw a computer in front of their face to distract them. So when I
Yeah.
was in like kindergarten, my dad got an NES, and it came with the combination Mario Brothers Duck Hunt cartridge, and then also Hogan's Alley, which was a shooter game, and that was cute. That was fine. But then fast forward like 2 years, and my grandma visits for Christmas, and she brings a bunch of gifts with her, and I want to open the big one, and my mom's like, no, you're gonna open the small one first. So I open the small one, and it's Donkey Kong Country, and I look at Grandma like, but Grandma, we don't have a Super Nintendo, and she says, open the big package.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that was like that was like a really cool moment for me. But then like I beat Donkey Kong Country like front to back, you know, like second, third grade,
Yeah.
and I traded it to my across the street neighbor for Secret of Mana, and that's really what kickstarted it for me, because I had just moved to a new town, and here's the story of this kid Randy who just got kicked out of his town and has to go find his own way. And then fast forward another 2 years, I move again to another completely different town. And this is about the time that Pokemon was exploding. So now I have all these kids around me talking about Pokemon, and I learned to connect with them through Pokemon because I got Pokemon Red for Christmas that year. So it's been a very formative part of my experience, and I've just learned to embrace that and enjoy it as I've gotten older. So really liked portable RPGs. Like I personally purchased with my own money Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, and 3, and Zelda Link's Awakening when that came out. And then kind of moved into late 90s, early 2000s, the Newgrounds Flash games era, because I was still
Wow,
too young to buy a
nice.
lot of my own shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, like still played Super Nintendo. I got Mega Man X at one point, and then eventually I got my own PS1 because my brother bought a PlayStation off eBay, and it came with like 10 games. Most of them I didn't give a fuck about, but there was one called Superman. You may have heard of it.
Ooh.
And he didn't give a fuck about that one, but I certainly did. But I didn't get to keep the PlayStation in my room. I had to go into his room, and then I had to play it while he's trying to sleep. And so then I got my own fucking PlayStation, and then I got my own GameCube with my own fucking money. But yeah, like basically like the early 2000s was a big time because you have like Newgrounds, you have the GameCube, just really enjoying the culture there. And then I've kind of slowed down. It's mostly been like, okay, I still play Team Fortress 2, I still play Left 4 Dead, I still emulate these games that I was playing before, but I'm also like on Steam and on itch just looking for cool new shit. By the way, if you haven't heard of itch.io, audience, go to itch.io and look for cool new indie games on there.
It's true. Better than Discovery Key.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, at the very least, follow them on X because they're always posting about their cool finds. Yeah. Excellent. Nick, you got any gaming related questions you want to ask?
Mainly Newgrounds, believe it or not.
No, yeah.
Now, I'm very grateful to Newgrounds for existing because that was kind of the first introduction to a group of people that's like, oh, there are other people that have the same interests. There are other people that feel the same way about these things. There are other people that feel so strongly about these things. They'll make fan games and they'll make animations about them. They'll make songs about them. They'll post them online just for other people to be like, wow, yeah, I also like this, or wow, this is a cool thing about this. And I think that did what's a nice way to put it? Irreparable damage to me, and that now I anticipate that, and I want that always. I always want that kind of community around the things that I like.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, I remember back in the day, it was there were some animations based on Kirby that were really, really good, and that's because Kirby is a circle, so it's easy as fuck to animate him. But the person doing it like made it look really cool because it was just a simple circle. He could do so much that people weren't able to do at the time with like Pico's School or Sim Girl or whatever.
Yeah, I remember playing Pico School. That shit was wild. Because wasn't that released after the fucking Columbine massacre?
Yeah, it was like a direct response to it, I think.
Mm-hmm. I feel that was the side-scrolling one, right?
It was
Or was it more of like a visual novel?
Glorified DVD menu.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because like Pico was like always on the foreground. You just had to click on the things that were coming at him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay,
kind of
okay.
all the early Flash games were basically just click on the button in time.
Yeah, no, I certainly enjoy that too, and that's probably what led me to 4chan and these other communities. Is like you get to make shit that they would not put on TV, or you get to take characters like Kirby and reimagine them in a new way. Like fan fiction or some shit like that. It's giving power to the fans that consume and enjoy this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And who could forget Metal Gear Awesome?
Yeah. I was waiting for someone to bring that up. That was like on my mind while we were talking about this.
Metal Gear Awesome isn't on YouTube. It's on Newgrounds.com.
That's right.
Oh, a lifetime ago.
Truly.
You have rookie eyes.
Yeah.
Hugh, man, producer Hugh, you got any video game related questions you'd like to ask our guests while they're here?
Not really. Wait, hang on.
No worries.
Awesome.
All right,
No
I'm going
worries.
to ask you
I was drawing
one.
a blank there. That was good.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you one, Hugh.
All right, go ahead.
Your favorite Final Fantasy game? Go.
9. I like
9.
Nice.
Ooh,
Very
interesting
good.
choice.
There
Why
you go.
9?
There you go.
Because it's like the most. It's very fantasy world, and I like that. There's like weird things. It's like a sort of storybook and cool art style.
Yeah,
It's
totally
like
fair.
all the Final Fantasies when they went 3D, they're all sort of in this like semi or fully modern time, or a sort of weird future.
Yeah.
I like that this one's just sort of classic fantasy.
Yeah, Steiner's
Yeah.
in it.
Steiner.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steiner's great.
Yeah, and he looks cool. They look all cool. They've got weird proportions and stuff.
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy IX is super impressive. Like when you look at the way it pushes the PS1, it looks so good. When you compare like how Squall's character model looked to Zidane, it's like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
thank God
You're
they
the
went
most
in this
handsome guy
direction.
here, the super fucked up triangle face.
Yeah.
Seeing that face, yeah.
Yeah, no, I really did love that because 9 was the one where they finally actually put 4 party members in the battle because 7 and 8 only had 3. But yeah, like it's an excellent example of working within your limits because with 8 they tried to be so realistic and make it so mature and it didn't work. And so someone finally slapped him silly and said, "Guys, go back to fantasy. Like make weird shit. Like the PS1 is not going to make what you're trying to make it make. Make just weird shit instead."
Yeah. Nick, do you want any other questions before we move on to their work
into the
and
reality.
Yeah.
Not particularly. I mean, no, mostly just Newgrounds of what I'm interested in. Mostly just Flash cartoons. Mostly, someone showing Link saying the F word. That I was like, they're allowed to do that,
A horrible
That was
childhood
mine.
scarring memory.
Yeah.
Me and my friends being on Newgrounds, and then he pulls up, he's like, "Oh, look at this," and it's like Mario fucking Peach, and it's like the most ugly drawn Mario I'd ever seen. And I was really young at the time, so I was like, "Turn this off. I want to leave."
Who made this? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And there's also like killing Pokemon and killing, something.
Yeah. You guys ever go on E-Bomb's World and there's like a video that's called like the funniest video ever, and then you click on it and it's just your speakers are going full blast. "Hey everybody, I'm watching gay porn."
Yeah, I remember that one. It was like that and like youareanidiot.com and all those stupid ass sites that would just blast your speakers and make everyone hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember E-Bomb's World too. The Something Awful, Neil Cicierega, all his songs about everything, the E-Bombs World song, all that kind of stuff. All the early internet stuff I was really into at the time.
Tuned into, yeah.
To my detriment.
Okay, yeah. One last question for Beatstar before we
Sure.
move on to your work with the VGAs. We kind of mentioned GTA clones, and you mentioned the True Crime series.
Yeah.
Did you ever get around to playing Sleeping Dogs?
Yes, yes, I did,
okay.
and it's really a shocking shame they didn't call it True Crime Hong Kong. How much more would it have costed, really? I mean, it's all of.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the player base who were familiar with the first two games would say, yes, this is True Crime Hong Kong. Sure, I mean, of course, it's basically. I'm trying to think. So Square Enix was the guys who bought them. And yeah, like the file name on the PC says HK Ship, so you know that's Hong Kong because of course that's where it takes place in. But yeah, I played it. Wei Shen, motherfucker, who you? And it was a great time, great game. My only critique with it is there isn't a lot of post-game content to do. I mean, you had the one DLC, the story DLC, where they all fight each other and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it was a very good, cohesive game movie feel. But I mean, there was interactivity, of course, and stuff like that. I think probably the closest to that like feeling I had playing that game was like Mafia 2. It felt like Mafia 2 where the story was great and the gameplay's awesome, but you're on a track,
Once you're done, it's done. Yeah.
And
unlike the biggest shame about this.
Yes, and unlike True Crime Streets of LA and New York City, there isn't like the random, crime that's
ambient crime. Yeah.
Yes, and being able to stop that. Yeah.
I
But
mean,
I really enjoyed that game. Yeah, that one's a solid 8 out of 10 in my book.
Yeah,
totally.
I feel like that's the best you could say about a game is that there wasn't enough of it.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's always high praise. Okay. Well, the slash VGAs, or how do you guys refer to them as? Just the Video Game Awards?
Yeah, you can call it the Video Game Awards. I think, Donnie, in that interview you did at PAX West, we called it the Video Game Awards. It's however comfortable you are with pronouncing it, as long as you know it's that award show. It's not the Video Game Awards, it's the Video Game Awards. Yeah.
Yeah, Vidya, VGAs. Yeah, so we do call it VGAs internally too.
Yes.
We just don't pronounce the slashes, and it really helps that after Spike TV saw the first ever presentation 2012, they shut their shit down and started calling it VGX and just gave us that search engine optimization. So thank you, Spike TV, for that.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
If you're watching, yeah. Right on. Okay. Well, I mean, we have a lot of time to talk about it. I guess you want to just talk us from the beginning? Like, what was the process of getting involved? What's the process of corralling however many members of this community? And Nick, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys are both I guess later comers, right? You weren't there in the original. You were both.
Neither of us were here the first year, right?
Okay.
I started the second year. Donnie started the third year.
Personally DMing Neanners and all that.
Yeah, I've had no contact with Neanners, no contact. Well, I have messaged and emailed Duke Loves You.
Lord knows he's tried.
Yeah. I reached out to. Yeah, I sent a couple emails, but no response. It's cool. It's like the first project was just so special because it proved that the community could do it. As I mentioned, I think at the beginning, maybe before we started the podcast, the Video Game Awards was founded as a response to the Spike Video Game Awards. People didn't like what Spike was trying to do with award shows, basically market non-gaming products, and try to mainstream and commodify the gamer into being this, customer. And so basically with the awards that the Video Game Awards offers, it gives consumers a choice. It gives consumers, an opportunity to strike back, in terms of what we have in store. So we have, most capitalist publisher. That was the first year. Best developer, worst developer. Crimes Against Gaming, which is interesting. Worst character, best voice acting. So it gives you a wide slate to work with. And the fact that the community is a part of it gives a lot of people the opportunity to be involved directly in the award show. So you have video, you have writing, you have VA, you have the opportunity to submit skits. Since our second show, we've had bumpers. And so that first year, I wasn't a part of it, but this group of people who got together was able to make something to let the AAA industry know, hey, we don't like this. We can do it better, and they did it, man. They did it.
Yes.
So since the second show, I started my first involvement in the VGAs was December 2012, and I indicated interest. I was brought on board as a associate producer. I also voiced 2 awards and wrote some speeches. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was like behind the curtain, like Wizard of Oz. And since the 2012 show had its own set of controversies and stuff like that, I got an opportunity to work on it in the 2013 show as an executive producer. We'll get into that a little bit later down the line, but basically the first one proved that it was possible. The 2012 and 2013 shows proved that it was sustainable and not just a one-trick pony.
Yes, I'd say that's what really stands out about it, is that it really can only exist as a labor of love. It is a completely zero for profit, entirely just a bunch of people who genuinely care about video games getting together, and regardless of what they say or the humor about it, especially in the original game show, the fact is all these people came together and made about 2 hours worth of material. I don't want to say content. I feel like that'd be demeaning.
Yeah.
But 2 hours worth of material about games, about the games they hate, the games they love, the way they feel about the industry, the way they feel the industry's treating them, and they put that out there in the world. I think that's something that people need to really appreciate, or should be appreciating more. And I feel like that's also why these shows stand the test of time, and they're still watchable. You can go back to 2011, and even though you already know, like, oh well, these games came out, I already know what it's ancient history. It's still worthwhile to see how people felt at that time about the world. It's like a little capsule of that moment of gamer love,
That
gamer
culture,
rage.
yeah,
Yes,
totally.
As cringe, I guess, as that might be, it is our culture.
Yeah, and it's good you could always learn from the past, and it's always important to not forget where we come from, and to and in that sense, when you compare it to the work you've been doing now, it's like you've come such a long way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and the aim is to make sure that it is rewatchable and that when people watch this, they are entertained, not pained. And just making sure that we have a great show in store for people. So having the speeches that are compelling, having the winners be shown in a way that gives justification to why our voters voted that way. And skits as well, having good skits that are like, the timing is everything, right? In comedy and as well, and just in general, like when you have a skit where it's like one winner wins this way, and then you have a skit, a winner for one award, and then you have a skit that follows it up that's related to that award, like we did in last year's show with Spider-Man being nominated. Like that was kind of that was very clever. Timing is really important in that situation.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. And y'all touched on something in there that I sincerely agree with. Like, what I believe has been a key tenet of the DonnyQ administration, and this could be true for other directors too, but I have made it a point in mine, is we are allowed to criticize games that win negative awards. One, because we're extremely qualified and we've played them, but two, it's that we are passionate about gaming. That we really enjoy it as a hobby and something that's fulfilling and is important to us. Because if you don't truly love it, then how can you properly criticize it?
Exactly.
And yeah, like you have to really love gaming to understand the ways that the game industry tries to corrupt and exploit not only the products but the workers underneath it. And you know that things could be better, but obviously you're not the one in the C-suite making those decisions. Like Forspoken, for the sake of example. Anyone on V could have seen that.
Lots of awards on that one, yeah.
Yeah, because it won 4 different awards last year, and I don't think that it has anything to do with like the buzzwords of the day, like ESG or DEI or whatever, like, diversity investment initiatives exist. It has to do with basically what we laid out in the speech. You have Square Enix with their corporate office being way too involved, delivering a mandate of, we need X, Y, and Z. You're going to check these boxes, and we're going to have this team build this that is going to check the boxes we set out. So from the top down, it is designed to be a corporate construction. And you also see that in other medium too, with like large blockbuster movies, and especially like Rise of Skywalker, the new Star Wars one, because like as terrible as Last Jedi was, Rian Johnson was given free reign to create art, and as much as as much as I fucking hate it, the man made art. He made what he believed in. So you know what? Power to him, even if you killed Star Wars, you dumb son of a bitch.
It was very funny movie.
And then look what happened with Rise of Skywalker. They bring back in J.J. Abrams because he checks the box. He will check the box that need to be checked. What's the script? We're going to check all these boxes that we need to check. We have checked all the boxes. The movie's over. Do you feel happy? Do you feel like you connected with anyone at all?
Yes.
And obviously,
character you recognize, thing you recognize, connection to previous thing. A ghost are there. The thing you like is there. What more could you want?
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I think it's very great that you guys provide this platform for these voices and then these criticisms of this thing that we all love, right? And it's all coming from a good-natured place.
We say it pretty often. Excellent. We love video games so much that we hate them.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Because you're seeing the thing you love, as you say, become corrupted. And it's like, no, why is this happening? But with the work,
it could be better, and we know it could be better.
The
other thing too about like the passion thing, right? So as director, I largely determine the run sheet. So like obviously, you know, like most hated, least worst have to be at the end. But then what do we put at the beginning? What's going to excite our audience? And then a lot of the middle is determined by where the passion lies. So like best soundtrack, that was our template guy, Shudda, and I'll name him because he's a producer. He's a big guy on the show. You know, it's not private. But anyway, so Shudda has personally taken hold of Best Soundtrack and made sure that it was fucking amazing for the past couple years. And you see that passion on screen, you know? That is also technically because, like, nobody here gets paid. Like, I spend money of my own for certain shit in the show. But anyway, like, being able to express yourself in these ways that you wouldn't be able to on your own is the payment for this show. So, you know, letting Shudda do best soundtrack, or Countertunes, bless his heart, he really wanted Calvin Ball in there. He says, I'm doing Calvin Ball. Done.
Okay.
He's like, I'm doing Layoffs. Done. And then with Layoffs, he didn't have a speech lined up, and he knew he wanted it in the show. So there was one guy who was really uppity about the Layoffs, and I'm like, you know what? You want this in the show, man? You're writing the speech, and you're going to voice it. Speak your truth, my man. And that also goes back to, we have a voice actor on the show who was a big fan of like Blizzard works, like played World of Warcraft forever, really loved Diablo 2, and so he is our go-to guy every time we have to give Blizzard shit. And boy, have we given Blizzard shit over the past couple years. But who better to do that than the guy who has grown up and loved this company for a decade? Like,
exactly, who would know better?
I can only imagine playing Warcraft 3 and Dawn of the Ancients and all that stuff, you know, stuff that completely passed me by. I was busy playing Final Fantasy 7 or whatever the fuck. And then seeing Overwatch 2, you know? Like the heartbreak, the agony.
And on top of just hearing about all the horrible, like internal stuff happening at Blizzard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And again, that goes back to the key tenet of the administration. Is like, you know, you have someone who engaged with this art as a human being. They loved it, and they wanted, you know, this company exactly. But like the things they were making, they wanted that in their lives. But the company's making it very, very hard because they're a fucking company, and they just want to milk people dry and check boxes.
Yeah,
you know? And like obviously parasocial relationships exist, right? And some executives have trouble dealing with that because you look at The Simpsons episode, was it like season 8 or season 10, The Principal and the Pauper? Like they retconned Principal Skinner's past, and that pissed a lot of people off. And the response from Fox was, "Why do you care? They're just characters." The fuck you mean? Why do we care? Why do you think we're watching every week?
Yeah.
You know, like that Bart Simpson, he's literally me, man.
Yeah, I hate it when my dad strangles me. This Bart gets it.
Yeah, I remember buying WoW Gold, from the gold farmers and all that shit. And now that World of Warcraft is doing that officially in the form of the WoW token, it's kind of surprising, It's like, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
could see they found that niche and they were like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and cut ourselves into this. And then of course, selling boosts and stuff and how they kind of market it is it's like, yes, you get ahead in a little bit. You're not cheating necessarily, but you're getting helped, But yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
like some people don't agree with it and they do want to work for it, but as a developer, your job is to get players to continuously play your game and to be I guess you could say a very loyal customer. And sometimes that can rub people the wrong way, especially with Blizzard and especially with that writer in particular. 2019 was a great year in which he really gave Blizzard the business. Crimes Against Gaming, Blizzard won that year, and he gave like a 90-second speech as all of the things that were wrong with Blizzard that year just laid into them one by one. Yeah, so I definitely feel that. It's like when you commodify your customers, but you're not providing the level of interest yourself and the amount of love that is needed for this project, and you're just doing it to make money. The people, your audience, can tell that. They can tell. So
Yes. Yeah.
it's super
So
important.
quick. You can.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. It's super important to have a good relationship with your community, and I think with Blizzard, especially around that time, 2018, 2019, with the Hong Kong protests in particular, that also damaged them as well, and that was incorporated in the
Yeah.
speech too.
Yeah, really took the worst possible stance on that one, didn't they?
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah, but yeah, like and they just trying to get that huge market share. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, like, and they've had a pretty contentious relationship with their fan base. Same thing with Riot. It's one of those things where you have this huge fan base, and some people, the reason why they all come together is because they really like your game, but the decisions you make impact them significantly. And even small things, even very trite things like moderation decisions, can have a rebounding effect. Especially like the Overwatch players. Yeah, as I said, the ones that got suspended for that. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, speaking of 2018, you want to tell them how we got our international audience, Beatstar?
Oh yes, 2018. So yeah, our 2018 Video Game Awards. That was the so I retired producing the show in 2017. The two people that succeeded us was the writer who writes the wonderful long diatribes on Blizzard, Lamer Gamer and Countertunes. And Countertunes is our resident Australian, as well as Shudda and a bunch of other people. But yeah, so the first year was a split theme. It was a theme of both esports as well as a takeover from Tencent Holdings Limited. And we were able to keep that secret for the entire process of the show. So our award show, and we could talk about this a little later, we have multiple phases. So we have our nomination phase, or actually, let me go back a little further. We have our theme selection phase, where internally we decide what the theme is for the year. We have our nomination phase, we have our voting phase, and then we have the writing and, the video assembly and all of that. And our audience was completely in the dark until we streamed. Half of our show, meaning the portion that's after the intermission, was entirely dedicated to being taken over by Tencent Holdings. It was interesting. Not only that, I mean, we went the full 9 yards with this. It not only was a reskin of our template, but it also had Chinese subtitles. It had music from adult contemporary Chinese artists, and it was very nice. Like we definitely gave the Chinese Communist Party the business, but it also resulted in our coverage. So it resulted in coverage in our show from places that we normally wouldn't expect, including a Hong Kong discussion website, Weibo, Baidu.
Wow.
Yeah, so like, and ever since then, we've been seeing every now and again hits from these websites. So having that Chinese audience, it's really nice. They appreciate it and they see it for what it is. It's not making fun of this specific nationality. It's making fun of the government. It's making fun of the fact that Tencent holds a lot of power and they acquire a lot of companies and exert that influence, similar to what we do across the world, with the U.S. But anyway, basically, it's just making sure that it's all in good fun, but it's also very reasoned as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't ignore reality. Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
hmm
I mean, I think that's also another special thing about your show in comparison to something like Jeff Keighley's
Mhm.
because it's how do I describe it?
Not trying to sell you headphones
Commercial.
for 2 hours.
Yeah, it is very commercial, right? And it is, yeah, very capitalist, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah,
Um,
it's very it's very open about its intentions,
Mhm.
right? So we all know who the big companies are. We all know who gives this foundation their money, and so those people have to get their flowers.
Yes.
So this is a business transaction. So hey, we want to keep a good relationship with you. We're going to invent the category best esports so we can give it to Overwatch.
yeah.
Or we're going to invent best viral hit so we can give it to Among Us, and everyone's going to cream their pants because that little indie hit that they all love got an award. And then we're going to take an actual, we're going to create debut indie, and you think it's going to be a good award,
Yeah.
except we're going to give it to a game nobody's fucking played by a developer who's been around for over a decade. So it's not a fucking debut
Yeah, it's
indie.
not debut at all. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's this whole game of smoke and mirrors, and like the older I get, the less I invest my time in hating shit like that. Like, obviously, the Video Game Awards, you have to hate that shit, but that's a special exception. This year, I made an announcement to the team because we generally we do time off for Christmas and New Year's because we're a buttoned up faction. Damn it! But anyway, yeah, the orders for that Thursday, your orders are simple. Enjoy the Keeleys. Whether you love them or hate them, you know damn well we can do better. And I honestly, I think Jeff Keighley knows, he knows we exist. He's aware we exist. I don't know how much, he puts into the show, but I think he recognizes at the end of the day, no matter how shitty of a job he does, he gets to cash a big check, and 4chan will cover it and do all the actual work for him to figure out what the actual good games were that year.
There you go. Yeah.
And here I am,
that
all
is the
silent,
case.
having met Jeff Keighley twice. So, let me give my take on this. Yeah.
Don't broach it if you don't think. Yeah,
Sure, why not? So, Jeff Keighley knows about the Video Game Awards. If you're listening, hi, Jeff. 2011
Yeah.
was a year in which the Spike Video Game Awards was nominated for Worst Video Gaming Related Event. It was the Teabagging Award. And the speech that the puppet player, who was the VA at the time for that particular award, gave was one of taunt. It wasn't something to say, hey, this award show is so bad. It's like, we know it's bad, but we're not angry because we realize what it is. It's the push product.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of nuance in the old Game Awards, or pre-Game Awards, the Spike Video Game Awards, in that it was produced not by Jeff Keighley at first, but by Spike executives who were from running cable company Playbook. And Jeff Keighley was brought on board to try and save it. Ultimately, try as he might, he was not successful. There were a lot of cool gaming moments, a lot of things that were showcased. For instance, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance was showcased there. But in the end, who really has the control? It wasn't Jeff Keighley in the end. It was Viacom. And so with that situation, he chose to separate from the Game Awards after its 10th year. 2003 was the first year of the Spike Video Game Awards. 2013 was the last year. And 2013 had a significantly scaled down award show. One of the things that I believe really in my heart is that when they saw our indie project, Spike made a decision to scale back the budget of the Spike Video Game Awards and make it more informal, make it more casual. They brought on Joel McHale, and Joel McHale was ad-libbing and insulting a lot of developers and all that shit. And Jeff was trying to keep the peace and try to be really diplomatic, but ultimately it was a very interesting presentation. 2014 came, the Game Awards, which was, that was the new project. Jeff Keighley gave up a lot of opportunity, namely the fact that, let me back up a little bit. There were still people in the gaming industry that wanted an award show for gaming and wanted basically a preeminent award show, the big one, right? Because you always have DICE, you always have the New York Game Awards, you always have all these other smaller outlets.
The BAFTAs.
The BAFTAs too. But you really want the big one, right? And Sam Hauser walked up to Jeff Keighley at the VGX 2013 show and said, we still need something like this. And so he made a choice. He gave up the possibility to purchase a house. He invested a significant amount of money in 2014 to make sure that he can do the first Game Awards. He did it in Las Vegas. Britney Spears, this is sounding straight out of like a Hollywood movie. Britney Spears was doing a residency in Las Vegas and gave Jeff Keighley the opportunity to present his award show in Las Vegas. And from then on, they were able to do it on basically on his own, but not by himself. You know, there's still a lot of investment and a lot of people who opted into this because of the relationships that he has made over the years, not only working for MTV, but as well as, the personal rapport that he's built with a lot of these game developers. So there's a lot of nuance on this. And when you look at the Game Awards, the fact of the matter is it is, at the end of the day, something that is to celebrate gaming, but it is conflicted in a sense because of the fact that you have a lot of these commercial interests. And in the earlier years of the Game Awards, you had very odd inclusions, such as like the Schick Hydrobot, you know, some for shaving, and then you had Grubhub. Well, not Grubhub, but you had like, Uber Eats and stuff like that. And you're like,
some sort of,
Yeah, and ultimately that is to pay the bills and to make sure that that award show can continue to function, because it isn't it isn't like they literally bribe the guys. It's more so the fact that it's very, very expensive to hold that venue. It's very expensive to make those trophies. It's very expensive to get the camera crew and all that shit. So bringing this all back to what we do, I feel like we're able to make this into kind of like more of a community award show, and realizing that, our voice for our local community is something that can make the difference. How it all ties in, man. As I said, this guy's watched our 2011 show. He said we won /V. If you look it up on Twitter, that shit's amazing. But yeah, like even looking into now, like it's really nice to see our award show be this local alternative. And realizing, the people in this in these industries, they're ultimately human. They ultimately make mistakes. You do need this guy. This guy's a cheerleader for video gaming. You do need something like this. And some people don't like cheerleaders. Some people think, it's a little too flashy. They're promoting a bunch of shit. It's like, surface level, face on, face off bullshit. But like at the end of the day, you need a guy like this. You should have a cheerleader like this. But we also need something for our own community as well. And I think what we're able to provide is something that's really nice as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that ends my spiel. No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, aptly put.
Yeah.
One thing that when you talked to Jeff one of those times, he said that there needs to be more award shows. There ought to be more award shows, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that, having, Keighley and his interests on their face, it's been very educational, like from our perspective too on the VGAs, because, V is not the ultimate unbiased arbiter of what is and is not a good game.
Yes.
Certainly.
Anyone who's been on V will know this. Yeah. And I mean, like, you look at Elden Ring and how it swept 2022. So did Elden Ring have the best soundtrack in 2022? Probably fucking not. But that's what V wanted. Also, you look at Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. It has consistently won awards. It came out 10 fucking years ago. It won, best soundtrack and least worst in 2013, and then it won an award in 2021 for best boss fight. It won in 2022 for best musical sequence. It tied with Half-Life 3 for Please Be Real. We want a fucking sequel. So like V is gonna jack off FromSoft. They're gonna jack off, Cyborg Raiden, but like. It helps put things in perspective, really, because no award show is going to be perfect. It does boil down to taste. It boils down to preference.
Yeah.
And we just add to that canon. We add to the discussion of what was the best game of the year.
Yeah, it's taste. It really is that particular taste. And if they want to nominate Metal Gear Rising 10 years, hell yeah. In 2013, 14, and 15. dare I say 2016 and 17 as well. Metal Gear Solid 5 won Best Trailer in our award show. And then 2016, 2017, Death Stranding won Best Trailer in our award show. And if you watch the Hyperbole Awards from those shows, you see how irritated our voice acting talent gets
Yes,
by how many times he wins in a row. He can't keep getting away with it.
Yeah.
I want to bring that up.
Yeah.
It's like that's kind of the interesting thing about watching those, that I myself was getting frustrated with some of those votes. You know, my own personal preference. Like, you know, No More Heroes 3. I've been waiting for that for quite a while. I feel like that had a bit of a better trailer. I don't know, personally. Even though it happened like 7, 8 years ago, I was still feeling that kind of indignation, which I guess is what you should be feeling like. As a participant as well as a viewer.
Dude, look at this past year, right? World of Horrors trailer kicks so much ass, but it was not nominated.
Yeah, that shit was fucked up. Let me just say this, too, and this is to contrast us against other award shows that do not involve the public or don't involve the public to the same extent. So you have that sense of agency. Sure, at the end of the day, if it's a game you don't like, it's tyranny by the majority. But this is what makes the difference. You have all these other award shows that have this jury, you know, these groups of people that are deciding for you, and you are, at the end of the day, a token vote. You only do 10% damage, you know, in the Game Awards, and with our awards show, you do 100%. So it makes me feel a lot really proud to be involved in this. Where, you know, if you guys want to fucking vote Monster Girl Quest Chapter 3 for best writing, go fucking ahead. We'll do our best and try and honor it with a speech and give it justice. But that ultimately is what makes the difference, because you need that buy-in when you have people who are working on these other award shows. That's the reason why the Game Awards has a 90% jury vote. You have people from all the gaming publications, and you have all the bloggers and all that stuff, and you only have 10% for the voters because of this scenario where... And Jeff Killy has actually kind of clarified this, and I didn't really think about it at the time, but I'm now like, damn, you know what? He's got quite a bit of a point for his specific award show, or for the Game Awards. The reason why he does that 10% is to keep gaming companies from campaigning on voters. And I was like, damn, really? Think about it like this. Hey, you click on this link, you vote for us. Well, they can't really tell who you vote for once you go to the third-party website. But you click on this link, you vote for us, you get a free drop in our video game. Think about that as a theoretical concept. That would be fucked up, you know? It's like...
It's not theoretical.
Yeah, it's like that happens with Genshin.
And that's the thing with, Genshin Impact and all that stuff. It's like, they don't want the campaigning to be so, to basically predominate the awards. And they don't feel comfortable with that. We do. That's the difference. And also, who wants to brag that they won a 4chan award show? So I'm just telling you. Yeah.
Yeah, the very nature that we are so under the radar makes this very easy to run, because nobody is saying, hey, you should vote for us in the 4chan award show, and then the people working on the show aren't doing it for any money or attention or clout, because you can't put this shit on your resume. So we're in a very unique situation where the toxic association with 4chan allows us to just do our own thing and keep it fairly honest.
If I can, real quick, I think that you're being a little bit too hard on yourself, because to be fair, with your collaboration with the independent game developers, AGDG, right, the thread, there have been a lot of games that I was genuinely interested in, and, you know, maybe haven't bought them yet, but they're on my wish list, they're on my radar. I want to see more from these people. I want to see what they've created, because they're putting these out because they care about video games and because they have a clear vision of what they want to make on their own. And I wouldn't have known about these if it wasn't for your award show. So yes, it is from a place that is known for being very toxic and vitriolic, but I think that this kind of stands out as an embodiment of the, dare I say, positive emotions that can come from such a negative place. The true feeling, what everyone's afraid to say, what everyone's afraid to really admit, is that they care. That's the most scary thing, I think, for a 4chan user to say, is that they care about the thing. They
genuinely,
so much. They genuinely want it to be good. They want the industry
Bless your
to be
heart,
better.
you're making me cry.
Good job, Nick.
I think that does shine through with the trailers for the independent games that you guys put out. And I want to see more of them. I enjoy seeing them. There's things that I want to play, you know? I think that's really something impressive.
I'm glad you like it. And before we segue into like genuinely caring about shit, our voting system is ranked choice, which means that everyone gets to pick everything 1 to 12. You're not just like voting for one and then everything weighs on the one. And what that's allowed people to do is, even if they don't like the winner of a given award, they can be assured that the stuff right underneath it is still really, really good. Like, I think Factorio placed high in comfiest game, and that, like, who the fuck is voting Factorio for comfiest game if they only have one choice, right? But if you can put Factorio at the top, and then, okay, fine, fuck it, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and then the rest of them, like, you still get that representation where, okay, so Factorio hasn't been on my radar, but that looks good, and these random people on 4chan seem to really enjoy it, so maybe that's worth checking out.
Right.
but
Australian
also,
style
like
voting.
you said, with the AGDG trailers, I wasn't part of that collaboration, but I definitely think that it's been really, I mean, useful, but also really cool for everybody. Like, fucking Super Dream Dasher got onto AGDQ. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to add about the history of the AGDG trailers, Beatstar?
Yes, 2017 was the first year we had done it. Hopefully they're. I'm going to see if we can get in the credits. I wish I could remember them from my memory, but I know they're in the credits. So I'm going to take a look. I'm going to say these guys, they were a part of history right here. Fuck, they're not in the credits. But you
We'll splash it up in post.
yeah, yes, thank you. But yeah, like, it was first thought of by our associate producer at the time. Now he was the director of our 2018, 2019, 2020, and going to be our 24 show, Countertunes. Nice. He thought it would be a good idea to incorporate that. And let me be on record, I made a mistake. I was like, this is like advertising, right? Because a number of years ago, or 2012 show, there was this game store in Pennsylvania that was just getting started up, and they ran a lot of threads on 4chan asking for advice on how to run the game store. And they even wanted to do like an advertisement in the middle of the award show, and it ended up never happening. But basically, my memory of that was like, these guys will get to make money off of our award show. I don't think that's right if none of us are making money, and we don't want to make money, to be clear. But no, Countertunes was really pushing it, and we ended up doing it. And it gave a lot of these developers that exposure. So not only do they have their games on Steam or itch.io and they're getting sales because of that, but it's directly because of the award show they're able to promote their video games. And we give this as free placement for their awards, or free placement for their games. So it's really nice thing we're doing. We've done it every year since 2017. And some of the games that, like, you see, you're like, God damn. Like, why don't you hug that gator? Like, that shit popping off on our secondary channel. That's like the most viewed video. I'm like, fuck.
Before I even met you guys, I was getting recommendations for that on Steam because I unfortunately made the choice of actually playing Goodbye Volcano High to see if it's really that bad. And it is. It's a very bad game. There's
I played that game
redeemable or enjoyable about it.
Yeah.
Having played the entire thing, Hugh, I feel like you're also a Goodbye Volcano High player. Would you say there's anything redeemable about it whatsoever?
Well, no, I played Snoot Game. I never played.
Oh,
I watched you play Volcano High.
Right. And would you say that was really the redeeming thing about it, was watching someone else suffer?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it could.
Yeah.
The idea wasn't bad, but the execution could have.
Execution.
So
yeah.
So Snoot Game, where that originally was first showcased, to my knowledge, was of course 4chan, but the first showcase of that I think was 2021 at the V3s. So that's another 4chan project that showcases indie developer trailers. And it was a parody, posited as a parody to Goodbye Volcano High. The guys ended up spending a full year working on this thing, and it's like, God damn, that's a lot of stuff. But it won, Goodbye Volcano High won Most Pretentious Indie Game of our 2023 show. And I endeavored to play Goodbye Volcano High first. I never played Snoot Game before. Nobody from the Snoot Game development team works on our award show, but I wanted to give Goodbye Volcano High a fair shake, and knowing what the hell the whole controversy was all about, because on both sides, there's immense vitriol. And back in October of 2022, if I recall correctly, I shared that I found out about Goodbye Volcano High on the co-op Discord through Snoot Game, and their response was to ban me. So I'm like, oh, so it's like that, huh?
Yeah.
Basically, their whole message is, oh, it's transphobic, it's anti-non-binary, you're fixing the character. And I played Goodbye Volcano High, and of course, it's not. It's so generic. I mean, the game isn't pretentious necessarily. It is most pretentious. It was voted by our voters, so I'm not disputing that. But the way that the development team handled that entire controversy and made it into a controversy and fed too much into this, ultimately, I think, is why the perception of it is different. I played Snoot Game right after beating Goodbye Volcano High. I walked away with a much better experience.
Right.
Then
And so
again,
you felt like you didn't waste your time.
yeah. And then again, it's important to note that Snoot Game is intended for a different type of audience too. It's intended for 4chan as the audience, as opposed to, hey, this is somebody. This is a group of people who are navigating their lives throughout the pandemic. And ultimately, I think because Goodbye Volcano High started out as a dating sim, actually, it wasn't until the pandemic that they actually made it into what it is, which is, what is it like if world's about to end and you have this band of good friends? How do you navigate all the interpersonal conflict with that? Ultimately, I feel with the things that Goodbye Volcano High was trying to accomplish, Snoot Game just did it better. And those guys at co-op cannot fucking stand that. They get so upset when you bring that shit up. So even if you have the rich Discord presence and it shows what game you're playing, if you have Snoot Game showing and if you have Wani Hug the Gator showing, they will immediately ban you from their Discord.
Wow, either
crazy
one, huh?
shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So for these guys, it's personal. For me, it's just I played it and I'm like, sure, I have some personal involvement, but I feel more so bad for these guys because they let that rile them up so much. They don't realize that the amount of work that the people put on this fan project is immense. It's immense. And it also resulted in a lot of interest in your original game as well. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't believe in conspiracies, ask your workplace about unionizing, or ask the co-op Discord about Snoot Game.
Yes. You will know fear.
It is unfortunate, I don't want to be a guy shitting on an independent developer. As we all know,
Sure.
independent developers are, right on the left hand of God in terms of their elevation in society and their contributions. But at the end of the day, a bad game is a bad game, as Mr. Miyamoto is so fond of saying. And I played through it all.
Yeah.
And I can't recall a single point where I was like, I am enjoying what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Did you play Snoot Game or no?
I haven't actually.
Okay, no, it's all good. Yeah, and I mean, there were some levels of autonomy that kind of were better than last year's winner, which was We Are OFK. The only interactivity in that game was you got some music videos and you could move your character around and shit, but otherwise it was just picking dialogue, and that was all. That was all there was, picking dialogue, and that was it. With Goodbye Volcano High, at least you can emote a little bit more, and sure, the rhythm games you couldn't do shit about. Like, it's the same outcome whether you ace them or if you fail them completely. But yeah, I mean, like, it's just, I think people wanted a little bit more, and they set a really high expectation to match with Snoot Game. And I think people who are doing Snoot Game as a chaser are gonna find that yes, this game can resolve a lot of the same issues that Goodbye Volcano High was raising in a more tactful way.
Yeah. Also, Snoot Game calls itself a visual novel, and Goodbye Volcano High calls itself interactive fiction. One, because it's too pretentious for the term visual novel, but two, it also lacks basic visual novel features like skipping through dialogue you've already seen.
Yeah.
Or actual choices, or flags, or branching paths.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some cutscenes you don't get. Yeah, if you don't have a certain level of affinity with the characters. But yeah, like, I think compared to some other visual novels where you do have a truly branching path where outcomes can be vastly different, and you get a little bit higher level of insight as to how many players picked it. Same thing with like Life is Strange or oh goodness, I'm trying to remember the other game. The one that
Telltale Games.
Yeah,
Telltale Games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Telltale Games as well. But yeah, I mean, it's probably their most high profile project yet. And like I said, I gave it a Steam review, and in the end, I still gave it a positive rating, just probably the minimum positive rating I can. I look back at it, and I'm like, hopefully they can make the next game be, in terms of entertaining as possible, and least amount of pointless strife as possible within other people, and just trying to itch for a fight. You don't need to itch for a fight with your fans.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we can trace this back to like passion versus corporatism again, because like Snoot Game was made by a group of people for free out of kind of like how the VGA's founded, like in response to something that they viewed as overly pretentious or misusing what its stated purpose was. And no matter what you think of Sweet Baby, which yes, I had to say their cursed name, I'm sorry, but they were hired guns who did not come up with the idea of Goodbye Volcano High, but were asked to look at the script and to check boxes. And the check boxes they did, and they delivered a product that checked the boxes that the people that hired them were looking for. And unfortunately, when you do something like that, in doing adaptations like that, you can lose the direction, you can lose the soul, you can lose the purpose.
Yeah, it loses the soul, and it can come off as pandering, in the worst cases, in my experience.
Art cannot be created by committee, no matter how hard they may try.
Yep.
Yeah. I think those are like the exact words. There's some like by committee for worst writing for the Forspoken, when Forspoken won worst writing last year. Yeah, it's like, yes, it's by committee, and it's like, dude, you guys, it was. I think the reason why they went with it is it's kind of novel when you pair Japanese programmers and Japanese visual artists with Western writers. But yeah, it was a interesting fusion, definitely.
Yeah. If you're gonna go to the West, leave it to Suda, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. Right on. Nick, you have any specific questions regarding the process of the VGAs that you wanted to ask these guys?
The process of the VGAs. Well, I understand. Yes, it is entirely.
It's all community driven
passion
and
project. So yeah, I guess so. You both just kind of messaged a guy putting his email out on a thread at some point, and you got in, or there was no like selection process. You just showed interest, and you were let in, and you ended up being very competent, passionate people.
Fuck. Who hired you, Donnie? Was it me who hired you?
I think it was you.
Yeah. So yeah, I emailed the producer at the time. His name, if you look on the 2012 credits, is Puyo. But yeah, basically he was the executive producer of the 2012 show, and then 2011 show. I guess you would call him an executive producer as well. And I said, hey, yeah, I want to be involved in this, because I saw it. I saw the potential of it. And I'm like, this is really great. And yeah, like my involvement initially was I wrote a few speeches for 2012, and I also voiced 2 awards, the Stop It Award, and I look back on it fondly, but it's just basically a crazy Onage Pranks ripoff, fucking Blunder of the Year, where basically rechronicling Tortanic and Tortanic going free to play.
Yes, I remember that.
And yeah, so. Yeah, basically my involvement was through that, and then 2013 happened. Now this is the year where I started to take over the show because nobody really wanted to work on the project. 2012 had a lot of problems, specifically with the fact that there were a lot of voice actors in this project. We had 25, if I'm not mistaken. So 25 meaning each award has its own person, except I got the voice too because I did 2 voices. Basically, you have each person do a different award. You had them read all of the nominees, and then you had each of these voice actors do a speech. And you also had, you just had a lot of stuff that wasn't necessarily awards. So you had a lot of skits that were kind of mulling over gaming, saying, oh yeah, gaming is fucking terrible. I've lost control of my life. And it was just a bunch of doomer shit. Now that we call it, this is before pre-doomer, but basically doomer shit. And yeah, just
cynicism.
People getting really cynical and stuff. And then on top of that, you have skits that are just people let's playing. So it's just gameplay clips with no context whatsoever. And then you also have though it is a 4chan project, you have 4chan Cup and you had V Wrestling. So the VGCW, if I'm not mistaken, them as well as 4chan Cup giving full 3-4 minute segments in this award show. So when you look at how much time we actually dedicated towards awards, it was among the least percentage-wise of time in any of our awards. So there wasn't a lot of awards that were being talked about. It was all this other shit that was happening. And a lot of people at the end of the year were walking away with, a kind of disgusted feeling. 2011 was polarizing. 2012 was really, it made people feel bad working on that project, which is something we don't want to do. So 2013,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, 2013, what we were able to accomplish and realize there are some people who still want to work on this project. And one guy, his name was... So yeah, a guy basically a guy went around, messaged everybody. And I was among the few people that said yes. And we had some people from prior year's show who also said yes. So that small number of people, 2 becoming 4, becoming 6, becoming 8, and so on, the people from the 2012 show agreed to work on the 2013 show. And there was a lot of stuff that happened in 2013 as well that was, I think, not exactly awesome. I share candidly that we had a writing crisis. So we had one person who was adamant that the speeches were written in this way, and the voice actors were not happy with the way that the speeches were written. So what ended up happening is the speeches ended up getting completely rewritten, and the head actor leaving in a huff, leaking the results in the middle of our 2013 stream. Ooh. So yeah, it's like learning from these mistakes, and this is something that, it's an ongoing process. You take these hits as they come, but realizing in this 2013 show where there was so much negativity that people wanted to straight up ban the Video Game Awards from being on V. Holy shit. But basically realizing, hey, we want to make this shit work, and you take these hits as they come, you learn your lesson, you make sure that you work through these mistakes and make sure not to repeat them. But in the end, what we were able to give is a production that was very streamlined compared to 2011 and 2012. It was a show that was a little over 1 hour, that went from 25 voice actors to merely 3, and or I should say 4. But basically, the amount of hosts and the amount of production staff basically working from the beginning, kind of like Assassin's Creed. Remember Assassin's Creed, when you have the first one where you fucking have everything, and then as soon as you lose your way, you kind of start from the beginning again. And so it was basically redeveloping.
And you relearn the path.
Yeah, you relearn the path, and I think 2013 was the perfect year to do that. Ironically, right after the Spike.
Very interesting.
Yeah, ironically, right after the Spike VGX, they. But we also had to learn. We also had to relearn as well. So yeah, after 2013, we continued to build this, and hired more people, more volunteers, and more voice actors, and got skits. And our award shows at first were an hour long, then an hour 17, and then an hour 47, and then basically it's just increased length. And now where we're at, where we have multiple voice actors, multiple video editors, great skits, intermission, pre-show mix, and everything, like we've come a long way from that. And it's basically learning the process of making an award show, and realizing, most importantly, that an award show is a hard job to do. It's not fucking easy. So you think, Jeff Keighley is like, it's just, no, it's fucking tough, man. It's fucking hard. It's hard work. And people think it was like, you just fucking rigged the awards. You know how fast this show would be done if you did that? Fuck.
We love a redemption arc over here.
To answer your question, how we recruit people, we put a Google form in our threads.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well.
So like the form itself is fairly boilerplate, because obviously, like, we're dealing with 4chan. These people are the smartest, cleverest, most contrarian people on the planet. So if they really want to do it, you can't piss them off and waste their time. But if they want to game the system just to get on and work for 6 months, well, we got to see what the vibe is, right? So, like, we have a question on there for how long you've been using 4chan. And of course, everyone's going to fucking lie. I don't care about that. What I care about are the questions that I put on each year at the end of the form. So I forget if I did this last year or the year before.
Here's how you get
but
in,
like,
folks.
Do what?
No, nothing.
Okay, so the question I put at the end of it was, Asuka or Ray. And so it would say Asuka, Ray, and then other. And whoever clicked other and gave us some bullshit, I knew they had the right vibe. And then this past year, finish this sentence. What a blank. And then I had thrill, which is, what a thrill, Metal Gear Solid 3. Shame, what a shame, Deus Ex.
Ooh,
and
JC.
then fill in the blank. And some people type, what a horrible night to have a curse. You get it. You understand what we're doing here. Welcome aboard.
I would have put what a
But
shame.
that still wasn't a hard requirement. We look at their qualifications and shit. So we didn't need them to be comedians at the end of the form. But it really helped, kind of establish who we're looking for and what the vibe is going to be.
Yeah, the tone. Yeah, okay. Right on.
Yeah.
Not just regurgitating memes, essentially.
Yes. Do you regurgitate the same memes? Do we have the same taste? If I throw this up directly into your mouth, are you going to enjoy it?
Okay.
Man.
Kind of going forward from that with the how do you guys decide on categories from that point on? It's all still members of the community. They just decide what they want the awards to be, and then you open up the voting. And it's just
So
that process.
we have a lot of legacy categories. So obviously we don't do best voice actor anymore. Over the 13 years running the show, we've learned that if you address people directly, it doesn't work for our audience, the show, or the people themselves. So let's say we ran best voice actor last year, right? Now we have 4chan choosing who their favorite voice actor is, but what intent do they have behind it? Because sometimes our categories get hijacked by bad actors, and then what's that actor gonna think if 4chan suddenly nominates them as their favorite voice actor? What are their coworkers, their fellow voice actors, gonna think if 4chan loves them? What are their bosses and their future employers going to think if 4chan really loves them?
I see.
Yeah, so we don't do really personal categories anymore. Occasional exceptions like Redemption Arc, where Mick Gordon, totally laid down the law on Bethesda. But anyway, best worst writing, that's a staple. Most hated, least worst, those are staples. Best worst gameplay, and then choosing what goes in the show, specifically what goes in the show. I've been doing the run sheet for the past 3 years, so I can tell you kind of what happens there. Is one, what people are passionate about, like I said before, soundtrack, and then what awards are uniquely V. What awards do we have to put in the show, or there's going to be a fucking riot? So, most pretentious indie game, that is the VGAs. That has to go in, or people are going to be pissed off. Best Aerogay. Doesn't matter if everything has 3 or 4 fucking nominations. We need Best Aerogay in there because we're the only people who do it. Best representation of men, best representation of women. You're not getting these anywhere else. They have to go in the show somewhere.
I did notice that the best Aerogay seemed to have the least votes, but the most passionate speeches.
Yeah, the skit after is very good as well.
What a story with that one. Yeah.
We do our fucking research, damn it.
Yeah.
But
you're well representing the community as well. Yeah, love that.
yeah, that's the whole fucking point. Is we have to be researched and we have to be knowledgeable.
Yes.
That's yeah.
V discussing porn
anyway.
versus V discussing video games. The fucking meme comic, where it's everyone's
Yes.
organized by committee in the circle table, versus V discussing video games. It's just a fist fight in the open field.
Chimps bludgeoning another chimp with another chimp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love
I will drop the run sheet thing for a second to do a fun aside here. So, this last year, Atelier Ryza 3 won Best Representation of Women, right? And if you've been on V for longer than 5 minutes, you've seen the joke about Ryza and her plump, juicy legs. Ryza, more like Thiza, am I right? And we left it to our writers to make speeches, but no one really had anything for Atelier Ryza 3. And I'm like, all right, motherfuckers, we are not cheaping out this year with a fucking thighs joke. And I, the fucking director with much better things to do, spent 3 days on wikis and watching reviews and figuring out what the fuck this chick does in the final game. And it turned out to be really cool, because, like, there's an island, right? And she has to, like, fix the fucking water pump and the filtration so that the plants grow better and makes better shit. Right? So, like, civic engineering. And then they bring all these characters back that weren't in 2. So, like, there were characters in 1 that don't show up in 2. They come back in 3. They tie everything up in a neat little bow. Like, if you love the series, then they throw it all at you because this is the conclusion of a trilogy and they're trying to really make it matter. And I made note of this, and I wrote a speech that did it justice, and I threw innuendo in there because, you know, it's rap of women, you have to put innuendo there. And I didn't do this because I played the game and I gave a fuck about the game. I did it because it's the right thing to do. But also, more importantly, I'm not gonna have a shitty speech in my fucking show.
There you go. Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that attitude. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know there was any gameplay to those games.
You make potions.
There's immense
and things, I believe.
gameplay and rants. Like, I didn't realize this game is literally like dozens of hours long. Holy shit! But
Yeah,
like,
I wouldn't know anything about those games.
Yeah.
so adding on to what Donnie said is like, some awards. I shared a category analysis. This is all the way up to 2022 that we have. I forgot to add 23s as well. But this is all of the awards throughout years, and feel free to share this. This is basically how long we've run an award for, and there are some categories where, like, most hated and least worst. We're gonna run that every year until we die. And other awards like Hyperbole Award for Best Trailer, Absolute State of Play for Biggest Technical Blunder, or Seal of Quality Award as it's also known. Some of the names will change over the years. And, you know, some years it makes sense to have that award. For instance, the Silicon Valley Bank Award for Most Notorious Layoffs. 2023 was quite a year for that, unfortunately. You know, you see that in the industry, and like, sure, you know, layoffs are cyclical and the economy is cyclical, but being able to be responsive to that and be able to talk on that, especially when especially when it affects our industry the most, it really is one of our strengths. And of course, you know, you have biggest cash grab that actually hasn't been around since 2015. But as well as these, I guess you could say, awards that make us unique. Arrogay, Best Representation of Women, Best Representation of Men, Best Game that's coming out that we hope doesn't suck. Okay, that one's more like Most Anticipated. But also Biggest Disappointment. Just Biggest Disappointment. It first was John Romero's Bitch Award in 2015, named after John Romero's favorite game. Yeah. So,
awesome.
But yeah, also having, you know, the look back awards such as the VR award and the 10-year awards. Well, this is back in 2007. The Unregistered Hypercam 2 Award for Best Game of 2007. Back when it was 2017, being able to have that hindsight is good. But when we have our award show, and because we've been running it for so long, that 10-year award can only take us so far. So with 2021, one of the things I give Donnie a lot of credit for, when we had a year to do that award, we ended up just re-showing 2011's least worst game of the year. I think that was a good move, you know, because it's like, if you want to know what 2011 was like, just watch our 2011 show. Some people will change their mind, and, you know, some people are like, Walking Dead was 2012's least worst game of the year? Yes, because at the time, that was what was available. People are like, Dragon's Dogma should have won. Dragon's Dogma wasn't on PC until 2016. You know, so it's like people are, it has to do with a lot of nuance and how things grew, you know, and people's perceptions. They change over time, but yeah, basically having the opportunity to kind of, you know, have these categories and have this variety is truly what makes our award show special. And to answer it directly, because you raise it, is like, hey, how are the games chosen? So we run threads. The first thing that comes up is category analysis. So categories and people suggesting categories. So during our nomination phase, we'll receive suggestions on what categories we'll get in. We get a lot of categories. And so
Yeah,
from
I'd
there,
imagine.
yes, and from that, our team decides which ones will work best in this award show. And seeing how our audience determines whether or not the award show or the award is good or shit leads into our decision as to whether or not we're going to run it in the voting phase. So yeah, and that voting phase is where you see the games, you get to choose the games and all of that stuff. And then the final step, what you see in the award show, is what we show in the award show. Because we are not a live award show, we have a lot of leverage. So a lot of our shit is, it's pre-recorded. We don't have to, get up on a stage and be, hey, all the winners, you guys have to come in here to this, fucking dirty ass auditorium. No, I'm kidding. But basically, we don't have no auditorium or any of that shit. We just say, if you want to watch it, you can watch it. But basically, the fact that we have, that ability to kind of like, I guess you could say, arrange the categories in such a way that it is, what's coming up. Of course, you're going to have least worst and most hated towards the end. But how you build that anticipation and reduce the perception of a sweep, even though you have it in the awards, like you can do that by spacing out the awards and which games win and which which times of the award ceremony, and being able to do that is an art in itself.
Yeah. So for the sake of example, like Elden Ring, right? It won 6 awards last year. So I've got to find a way to give Elden Ring its flowers without fucking up the whole rest of the show.
Elden Ring. Yeah, okay. Understandable,
yeah. Like that's going to be really boring. That takes away the anticipation from the audience. And if you watch our 2012 show, we do like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 format, which once again takes away the mystery and really hampers the show, which is why we've never done it again. So Elden Ring wins 6 awards. Which ones are getting in the show? Well, let's take a look. It won Best Soundtrack, which is going to be a custom thing because we have a guy that loves doing that, so soundtrack has to get in. It won Least Worst, so Least Worst has to get in. It won Best Rep of Women, so that has to get in. And fuck it, everything else is not going in the show. And we had a guy get really mad that Best Gameplay was not in the show. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you wanted a 4th fucking Elden Ring award in the live presentation. And then this year was even fucking worse. So you wouldn't know this watching the show, all right? But Pizza Tower won 5 awards.
I was going to say, I was shocked Pizza Tower didn't win as many awards as I was expecting watching the award show.
It did,
Yeah.
but it's like, do you want to see Pizza Tower 5 times and explain 5 times why it's great? You could still see it on the winners page. It doesn't mean the game didn't win. It's just how much time do you want to dedicate to it? And that does go both ways because you say, hey, did it really get its flowers? I think Pizza Tower for our award show getting 5 awards is an amazing thing. And the people who make the soundtrack, Materia Collective, they're most appreciative that it won Best Soundtrack. But it's making sure that when you see the awards, you're entertained and you're not like, oh boy, another clean sweep. Here we go. Even if that is the case, we have a lot of awards to choose from and a lot of variety. But when people are like, oh man, this game won, this game won, it's like you want to make sure that you have variety in your award show as well.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, because like in 2013, Metal Gear Rising sweeping, like we can make fun of that. Oh, look what won again. Hee hee ho ho.
Oh, we did.
But but there's only so many times we can do that before we get upset over it, and then our audience gets upset over it.
Yeah.
And we had the running joke with Kojimbo, for like 5 years there. So we didn't really need to do that with any other game at that time.
Yes.
And then this year, I think I did something really cool. So Baldur's Gate and Forspoken, respectively, won Best Writing and Worst Writing, but also won Least Worst and Most Hated. So here's what I did. Baldur's Gate, very first award, that wins Best Writing. And then it fucks off for the rest of the entire show. So when we get to Least Worst, it's a fucking surprise that it wins. And then Forspoken wins Worst Writing. And then it fucks off for the entire rest of the show. People are like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Maybe people didn't, maybe it's not as big of a thing as I thought it was. And then bam, there it is, right at the end of the fucking show. It's like poetry, man.
It rhymes.
And what I did with 2021 was a little bit different for the run sheet. So like that one, Cruelty Squad won Best New IP, and I'm like, okay, so let's punch our audience right in the mouth as we start. Let's give them something really cool that I know they're going to enjoy. Cruelty Squad, bam, winner. On to the next thing. So yeah, like every director is going to bring something different to the run sheet, and that's really where the director has their say on things, because like the director's the one that makes the run sheet. And what I've tried to do as I've had this role is make something where you're not going to get bored. There's going to be an ebb and a flow to things, and like, you know, it'll build up, it'll sink, and you'll be surprised each time.
I do want to give kudos to our audience too for nominating and making these games win. So, for instance, Cruelty Squad. Where in other award shows are you going to see that? Pizza Tower. Where in other award shows are you going to see that win?
That was a huge point of contention, even with VGAs. I remember.
Yeah,
a lot of controversy about Pizza Tower's lack of representation, despite the.
I know they even have the gall to like, hey, it's the Pizza Tower devs, and then never mention them in the show.
Yeah,
Is the
Pizza Tower.
Maybe gall's the wrong word.
Hey, Pizza Tower is AGDG too. Yeah, it's good. It's good. You know, it's good to see.
Totally.
Yeah, it's good to see. You know, our audience realize, you know, games that they really like, and our opportunity is to make sure that that is represented too. Yeah, I'll definitely take the looks as they come regarding, you know, how much we put into that, you know, how much that you see that game. If you think it should have really been showcased 5 times as a winner in our award show, we'll take that. But like, yeah, it is ultimately we get to do this once every year. You know what I mean? Like, you get to showcase this once every year, and if, you know, something doesn't rock well in terms of the way that it's organized, we always got next year to improve on that.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. This is a very insightful look into the process. I appreciate
Hell
this.
yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Very cool.
Well,
so,
that's part of it too. Is like, I believe our voting code is open source on GitHub.
Yes.
Like, we try to be open about what we do, because like, how is anyone going to get better at doing this stuff if there's no education? And what better education can you get than from an anonymous award show where you're free to fuck up because it doesn't follow you for the rest of your life? Like,
yeah, and it's great. We've had this source code open for 10, you know, not even just 10. It's been like 12, 13 years. It's amazing. And just when, because I'll give context. Jeff Keighley, I met him first in January of 2023, and I got to talk to him for about 5 to 10 minutes. One of the things that he said that really did stick with me, and Donnie brought it up, is, you know, more award shows are a good thing. And that doesn't necessarily mean, hey, your award show's awesome, you know, you do the best job ever, or anything like that, but more so the fact that, you know, they aren't the only game in town, and realizing that you have choice, you know what to do, and you know, for your specific site, which is 4chan, what we're able to do is we can impact 4chan in a positive way by giving them the opportunity to work on the project, vote, nominate, and submit their video game projects that they are working on. So, yeah, and having the source code open has really, it gives the opportunity for other people to do this as well. It's not like, oh, we're the only game in town either, because you have polls on 4chan all the time. You have, you know, King and Queen of V that goes on. You have, you know, the informal image macros where people are voting on Google Forms and all that shit. It's like, we're not, you know, so far up our ass like, oh, you got to do this thing. But, like, we put a lot of work on this. You know, a lot of people also put a lot of work on what they want to do, and where they see our weaknesses, they can make their own project happen as well. And now with 2023, like, you've seen the fucking ODK awards, right? You know, there's these other award shows that are rising left and right. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? Well, we know what we're doing. What we're doing is good for us, you know? We really like this. We really like this.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea what the ODK awards are.
Oh, it's fucking influencers, man. Fuck them. Fuck them.
Really?
Fuck them. They basically, they're like, oh yeah, Corsair, give me money, or, you know, all these other sponsors. I don't know who they're sponsored by. I should say that. But yeah, they are sponsored, you know, corporate as fuck, and they, you know, they pay people for coming there and all that shit. It's stupid. Yeah, I don't fuck with that, because it's like there's no soul in that. There's no soul in that. All you're doing is you're another dick in the marketplace. Fuck off.
Yeah. Oh, person I recognize.
Yeah.
It's all these people I don't recognize.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. You know, the more voices speaking out about the things we love, it'll further improve the medium for everyone who enjoys it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Very, very cool. Okay. With the skits, how are those vetted? Do people just send them in, and then what's the submission process like for people there? And
you did mention it's not just open season. Anyone can send in anything, and it's thrown in. There's actual quality control, or
so this varies from director to director. As far as like getting the skits, Same deal as our recruitment doc. Like we'll put like a Google form up in a V thread and say, hey, if you've got a skit, you can submit it to this form and upload it here, or you can email us directly. That's how we get them. And then whether or not we air them is either team or director discretion. So there have been skits that have been very, very long or patently offensive or just bad, and they don't get in the show. But then if you look back at, I think it was 2012 or 2013, beatstar knows this story, but it's like some guy asked, like, hey, can I just throw up in a bag? And
that was 2014. Yeah, so guys,
2014.
guys, yeah, and we mentioned this in the 2023 show. Yeah, the VGA collection. So that was the 2014 Video Game Awards pre-show, which I cannot upload to YouTube for some reason. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, like, it's all based on whether or not people want to vibe with this or submit this to the show. There's been some years where we're very dry in terms of skits. So what we've done with 2023, we did get an influx of people submitting skits, and that was good. But initially, we were doing we were really, really in a dry spot. And so what a lot of our team members also do is they also make skits as well to kind of make up for that deficit. But yeah, like 2014, that was one year where some guy literally threw up in a bag and submitted it to our show. And I was like, hey, this guy just fucking slap a VGA logo on this. Why the hell not? It was in the pre-show. It wasn't in the main show. But yeah, like and 20. Yeah, and like it does vary from director to director as well. So some people say, hey, this is not original enough. And some people think that they're slick when they send us some shit that's from YouTube already. That's a famous video, and it's not them who make it. They just straight up fucking steal. I'm like, we're not gonna air that shit. Fuck off. But yeah, and like you do have to apply some good judgment and then making sure that it's entertaining. Honestly, it's every second that we have something on here. You got to realize what is that dedicated to, and making sure that it's at least funny. If it's not funny, at least it's entertaining or compelling, And there was there's one year where it was like milking for like full 3 minutes everyone's time, and it ends up to be the Yick game. I think that was 2020, where it was just like, oh, I'm gonna make this game. It's so innovative, and it's showing like Earthbound and like very Gaussian blur with a wave tilt and all that. And then at the end of the 3 minutes, it's like, surprise, bitches, it's Yick. Yeah, like, oh my god, yeah. So yeah, it's important to make sure that the viewer's time is definitely taken into consideration. It isn't just
respected.
On.
Hey, we love that. Yeah.
That's why Please Wrap It Up was a thing. Dude, he's gotten oh man, and that actually started in 2022 because people were like, hey, why is the Game Awards 4 hours long? So in an effort to make it shorter, it's like, yeah, they started playing people off, but when you do that and you do it so aggressively, just like the Oscars, people aren't going to respond well to that, But I do realize with our skits or with our award speeches too, it's like you can say something, you can cover the ground without belaboring the point. But it's different when you have the people who make these games make the award speeches,
Yeah, if the criticism is that your show is too long and your response isn't to cut to commercials but to cut out the people you are supposed to be celebrating, that's a problem.
Yes. Precisely.
Yeah.
Imagine if they played off the Zaum as they were
oh no, Disco Elysium.
Their last appearance.
I was there that year.
Really?
Yeah, so 2019 Game Awards was the first year I ever attended. I sat right behind Jeff Keighley.
Nice.
Yeah, we got some really interesting seats. I don't know how the hell that happened, but yeah, basically they reseated us, and they reseated us a second time and a third time. I ended up right behind the guy. I'm like, oh shit. So when they had the Disco Elysium developers, when they said that, I could barely hear it, and it went right over my head. And then when I went back to my hotel, I'm like, oh shit. I was checking V. Everyone's talking about Marx. Holy fuck. Yeah, but it's like, it's a game about politics. You should understand that. Yes, of course they're inspired by somebody, but like, fuck.
But how can that be? It's so funny.
Oh my god, it's so divorced from that, right? Like, no, yeah.
But I'm laughing.
Yeah. It was interesting. They seemed like a nice troop of people. It's really sad what happened to the studio, though. But yeah, like
yes,
yeah, it's well trodden ground on our show.
Yeah.
So just to interject on that real quick. So, Disco Elysium was made by a small, passionate group of people, And obviously, like the guy running it isn't like the coolest drink of water on the planet, but that's beside the point. What happened was capitalism destroyed that studio.
Yes.
Because you have these people walking in here with a bunch of money, saying, "Hey, we're gonna run an Amazon show. We're gonna make a sequel. We're gonna do this and that and that," and the money just corrupted the passion. It hid the passion, and just it. That's what killed the team, and that's also why the VGAs are not just nonprofit, we are non-commercial. Because as soon as you start asking who profits off of this work, then everyone's incentive changes.
Yeah, you start damaging
so-
yourself and the integrity
Speaking
of
of,
everything.
I think it's about time for our ad read. Sam, if you could break out the copy.
Yeah, let me get out of here.
Are you? I know you guys got that sponsor. What's up about
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Cookbooks?
Well, that's my friend. What should I call him?
Yeah.
Job LLC.
Job LLC, who am I?
He's a guy who makes gaming cookbooks independently, and I said, what if I put a link to the store in there with a little coupon code and made an ad for you?
Yeah,
said,
it's
"That
your
would be
show. Go
great."
make that money, man. That's cool.
Oh, I get $0 from this.
It's a well. Hey,
I just like
Putting
it.
our friends' work,
you ever need to know a recipe for something related to a video game? You just say, hey, what about that recipe though?
If you ever want to make the fly honey from Earthbound, you know where to find it.
Hey,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
But yes, yeah, introducing that for-profit sort of mentality. I can see and have seen how it damages things, especially passion projects. So appreciate your stance on it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so and beatstar, trust me here, I'm going to cover this as lightly and gently as possible. There's always been a faction within the VGAs of like, wow, we've got dozens of people here who are kicking the ass of most every other YouTube channel out there. If we put our minds to it, we could make anything and do it better than the people who are currently doing it. And that never actually came to fruition, because when you change the mission, when you change the product, then the incentives change too. So we're all here to make an award show for 4chan. If we made an award show for some other community, now we have to serve a different community, and like, who profits from that? Like, who in the team gives a shit about this other community? And if we got sponsors, who's getting that money? And if we're getting this famous, then who's at the top and collecting all this attention for organizing this event off the backs of other people's labor? So there was a referendum at the end of the 2020 show with our 10th anniversary, and the proposition to move on and make this more commercial was resoundingly rejected by just about everybody, because it's supposed to be a show for 4chan, and like, I was on that team. I was on the team of, wow, we can do fucking anything, and the one thing we can all agree to do is make this award show for 4chan, and I've just dug in and embraced that, and I think we've made a really good show just with that clarity, because now the question has been answered. No one's asking it anymore. We know what we're here for, and if that mission doesn't fit us anymore, if we're too talented or we think we're too talented, we're too skilled, or we don't like 4chan, we don't want to waste our time, then there's other things we can do with our lives as opposed to trying to drag this project with us.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
I think that was covered really well. But yeah, like video game development and how they have in software too, feature creep, where you have this thing and it can do more things and it does more and more things, and then those things are no longer supported. Yeah, so with our awards, like we had before the referendum, we had V3, which is basically E3 video game coverage, where we would be basically co-streaming the conferences, so Ubisoft, Nintendo, EA, all of them basically, and having a community reaction to that content being showcased. But there's already a wealth of that information available elsewhere. Not only that, you're dealing with a 20-second delay. People are watching the other stream as you're reacting to it.
Right,
So
yeah.
that does have basically, we realize what we do really well is award shows. So we keep on doing an award show, and we basically let other people do the fucking E3 coverage. It's cool. You guys did that, and now that we're dipping our toe into conventions too. With I go to MagFest, and we've gotten a press badge for PAX West and now PAX East.
Nice.
You know, we're doing that. We're testing this out to see if it's feasible for us to do this coverage as well. So we're just, you know, it's seeing what makes the most sense. Regarding the referendum, I agree 100%. And I was on the boat where I said, fuck, we're staying 4chan. I would not work on this project were it not for 4chan. This shit's our home. And it's sad to think that some people look to leave. But, you know, we realized that we had a great team, but our great team was here for one reason, to work on a 4chan project. And, you know, ultimately, it's really helped us in situations, specifically where people are like, oh, wow, you did this thing from 10 years ago. How controversial. Or you have, you know, some shit people bring back from the past 10 years ago, and then you realize, wait, you're an award show from 4chan. That shit was normal back then. Not that we do that shit now, but that shit was normal back then. So people want to haunt you and haunt your past, and you know that's a value that is not 4chan at all. People don't fucking do that. Your name is anonymous. I don't know what you fucking posted last week. I don't know what you posted 10 years ago. It's not my business. But basically, yeah, like making sure that this award show, because of the fact that it's a 4chan project, means that you're not indebted to other third-party communities. You're not indebted to the fucking Reddit. You don't have to explain yourself to NeoGaf. You don't have to fucking say, oh, I'm sorry, to fucking Face Punch or the next Face Punch. It's like, dude, this is a project that you make for this community. Of course, at the end of the day, you're accountable to your own community, but you're not accountable to all these third-party communities that fucking attach, even though their votes don't count at the end of the day. You know, and that's the blessing of our award show. It is 100% fan-voted, but you have to be a 4chan voter. You have to come from 4chan. You try to vote for fucking Reddit, not going through. So it really is, you know, I would say among the most unique award shows on the planet, and it's the most unique video gaming award show. What we do is so incredibly special, and I think nobody does it like what we do. So just being able to do that and make sure that we're able to keep this good thing going, it's great that we all agree on what our path is. So making sure that this 4chan project can continue and sustain itself, that's something that I'm really happy to be a part of, you know?
Oh, totally. You guys should be proud. I think it lends an integrity to to what you're doing. And it's very cool. Very cool to see.
Thank you.
It is something that has completely evolved. So I think even going back and being like, oh, in the 2011 VGAs, I don't think it would be right to even say anyone on the current team is similar to the team before. Not just, you know, different people coming in or cycling out, but just the amount of time that's passed. These people are not the same people as they were 10 years ago. You know,
exactly.
There's a single cell in our bodies that's still there from 10 years ago.
Yeah. Only one person remains from the 2011 show, and it's the guy who is doing you know, he's the web guy. So it's like the person who's here since the beginning has been on for those 10 years. But yes, because it's a volunteer project, nobody's obligated to stay. People stay because they like the project, they agree with the project's values, what we're trying to present, and most importantly, nobody's getting paid. Everyone's dedicating their time and their effort to this, but they're continuing to work on this project year after year because they believe it's worth it. You know, it's contrasted with other award shows, and actually, I ain't gonna go too hard on them, but you know, other award shows they kind of like balloon in size because they're real. They take place in the real world. They need the video crew. They need, you know, all of the people to manage the talent and all that stuff. But with this, I mean, like when we all get together and we work on this, we work on it to the best of our ability. And when we're done, you don't have to stick around. But if you stick around for an extra year, that's cool too. And you know, some people have been really able to, like, you know, make this project and expand it to the extent that it can, you know, by offering the independent developers an opportunity to showcase their games on these awards, as well as, you know, implementing several features like our first year, it was first past the post voting, meaning you can only pick for one. 2012 was the first year where you can choose multiple. 2017 was a year where you can drag and drop a little bit easier. You can vote mobile, meaning on your phone or on your tablet, a little bit easier. Yeah, but and then 2023 we implemented a funny CAPTCHA system where it doesn't actually impact your voting whatsoever. But it's just, you know, these little cool mini games and these little cool segments that, you know, you expand the voting functionality and you make it fun to vote and make it fun to be involved in this award show.
Yeah,
so
part of the process.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
Very nice. Very nice. Goodness, yeah. So much so much insight into the process of everything here. Very cool.
You might consider us nerds. We're very passionate about it.
Hey, we love to see it, and I love the idea of. Oh, go for it, Nick.
Yeah, I was gonna say at the end of the day, I mean, all four of us really are the same. We have the same exact desires and passions. You guys have just gone out and done it. You know, you put it out, regardless of caring about who's actually looking at or seeing it. You know, we weren't the original target audience. We came in later, and well, I guess not both of us weren't the original target audience. We came and saw it later, but we both were able to enjoy it because of what it is. You know?
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, so with and I guess I'll speak to my role in the VGAs today. I was an associate producer in 2012. I ran the show for a couple of years, 2013, 14, 15, and 17. But since 2019, I've been in charge of the outreach department within the VGAs. That's contacting developers, letting them know that they've been nominated for our awards. So when enough people nominate a certain game for a certain category, we let them know that, hey, their game was nominated. And a lot of these developers, they respond to these invitations, knowing full well it might be for a negative category, knowing full well it's a 4chan project. So it's been really cool to see. And like the developers, a lot of developers don't care if it's for a positive or negative category. They care that their game is being noticed and being appreciated for what it is, you know?
Talked about, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
especially, yes.
I mean, even just going on, like I said before, the Steam Discovery queue, there's so many games that, you know, outside of the obvious, my armpit can't be this sexy 5 or whatever, that have like max 10 reviews, came out like a year ago, 2 years ago. And it's like, wow, this looks like a really interesting game, but it's just completely by the wayside. It missed that initial window to be seen. So I understand that. Yeah, any chance to be seen by the world for creating something, especially as an independent developer, makes a lot of sense, you know? Any attention is good to have.
Yeah. And also with Best Game Nobody Played, that was a category we introduced in 2014. Initially, how it worked was we chose, because there were so many one nomination games where people would nominate a game only once.
Yeah.
We had to only pick from a certain number of that. But now what we do is we pick the most nominated games that were not featured in any other award in our presentation. And what that does is it lets you see games that normally would not be in another award show like this, you know? So like if you have, you know, games that are really well liked, games that are really well disliked, but games that also slipped under the radar. In addition to that, we also have a category called Guilty Pleasure, which are games that are really well, it's a positive category, but games that cannot qualify for least worst or any other positive category in our award show. So what that allows that to do is like you get a very broad brush of games that you can choose from. Yeah.
The counterculture award.
Yeah, exactly. Because a complaint I heard about this year's show is that you see a lot of the same nominees in the positive and negative categories, because we go with, like, you know, best worst writing, best worst gameplay, you know, these big, like, marquee awards. You don't see like little shit in there. And that's exactly what Guilty Pleasure and Best Game Nobody Played are for, because they explicitly ban anything with certain nominations. Like Guilty Pleasure cannot be nominated for anything positive. Best Game Nobody Played cannot be anywhere else in the show. And that helps people find cool games, because even if you don't like Bayonetta Origins Raising the Lost Demon for Nintendo Switch, maybe you don't own a Switch, but you can still go down that list and see other games that V discovered on their own and genuinely enjoyed, you know, like Dangeresque or Tevi or whatever the hell else was
Demon
on there.
Purge, right? Gal Guardians.
Oh, yep, Gal Guardians, that's a good one.
Yes, my beloved fiance actually played that before. And she was very distraught when I told her that the rest of the series is all like sicko, pervert, upshot, panty photography.
Yeah, like it's the final boss is just them doing fucking Galgun. But like, has she played Bloodstained Curse of the Moon?
No,
or Curse of the
she
Moon
hasn't.
2?
This is actually, I think, the first Castlevania type game she played was Gal Guardian. She's like, wow, this is great. Are there more games like this? And I was like, well, not in this series, no.
Yeah, not in the Galgun series, no. But these people, Inti Creates, did make 2 other ones for a different franchise. If you're
Yeah,
interested,
maybe look over here. Don't look at this director's other projects, but look over here. Look, Alucard.
yeah.
Cool. Okay. All right. Anything else we want to be covering from the process of the VGAs, or any?
Don't tempt us. You'll be here till midnight.
You have any regrets that stand head and shoulders above the rest?
Yeah. I mean, you have talked about like greatest lessons learned, I feel,
Yeah.
kind of.
Mhm.
So yeah, anything on the opposite end of that spectrum,
Oh, stuff that like
we've
we're
kind of
really
covered that
proud
as
of.
well.
Uh, really
Yeah.
No,
proud.
no,
of?
he asked specifically about
Yeah.
regrets, but like,
I've had a few.
We don't
but
have
then
to.
again,
We don't need to. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, no, I'll just say real quick that I've enjoyed my journey as director because like the first year was how do I even run this fucking show?
Hmm.
The second year was how do I run this fucking show efficiently? And then
Hmm.
finally in this third year, knowing how to run the show, like okay, how do I actually fulfill the role as director and give everyone a creative vision to follow and deliver that to an audience? And I think especially with the JRPG theme, which I'm very familiar with, I'd like to thank the team for voting on that and allowing us to explore it and see if it was even viable. And I like I'm retiring as director in the best possible position to have given the best possible show that I could, and I think it's a rare and special thing to be able to go out on top like that. So
Yeah.
just like to thank the team for giving me the chance, and just really enjoyed having that journey.
It's kudos to all of them. Certainly.
yeah.
I'll agree. It was a phenomenal show. I'm very biased. I do love JRPGs, so
That was it's a very
appealed to me
cool way
personally.
you presented the information.
Straight up RPG Maker.
Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah, and that has to do with the fact that like we got so many fucking talented people on our team, and being able to flesh it out and make it into a practicable way to present it, And again, our blessing being a pre-recorded award show, I guess you could say, is like yes, it's not something that oh shit, the video crashed halfway through, but the fact that we're
Yeah.
able to present it and again make watching an award show entertaining and make it rewatchable. The fact that our award shows, you can actually watch it multiple times and be like, damn, this is actually pretty cool. I vibe with it. Vibe with the flow of it. It's a good thing. Good thing. And hats off to Shudda for making this theme work and, a lot of our team for proposing it and making sure that we can deliver on that. Our pixel artist, I really appreciate the work that he did as well.
yeah.
I should say pixel artists. Multiple.
Yes.
No worries, no worries. I suppose if we're going to be closing up on the VGAs as a topic, one of my last questions for you guys is the editing process. I suppose, like how long, like what's the time frame and span of that, and who's really working on that? Are you two like directly involved with that, or do you have like a specific team of editors who do it?
So we have a video team,
Okay.
and so what would happen is we have someone who makes a video template, and that's kind of like the RPG maps that you saw and all that. So these past three templates have been made by Shudda, because our original template maker who'd been doing it for a decade, he retired after 2020, and then like I said, 2020 was kind of a rough year. It was the 10th year. Everyone really blew themselves out. We had the referendum. A lot of we kind of had to do a soft reboot in 2021. And Shudda stepped up to the plate and made that template.
Okay.
And so what you do is you take the top 5 nominees and you get footage for the top 5 nominees and you shove them in, most hated award for most hated game of the year. The nominees are, and then you do the nominees. And usually you get to randomize what order they're in, and that builds the interest and the mystery for the audience. Like, oh, that's a pretty cool game. Yeah, I can see how that got nominated. Oh, but what about this game? Oh, but what about this game? And that's really the core of it, is that anticipation.
Yes.
And then you have the results reveal, and that shows the sweet points. And then you see who the winner is, and then you have the speech with like the little overlays for like what award it is and the thing. So our video team was like 10 people this year,
Nice.
and so most of them take the template, and Shudda tries to make it as efficient as possible. So here's the template, slap the footage in, type in the names of the nominees, throw the speech down, throw some footage over it, and you'll be able to ship an award in like 3 hours. So that's if you want to do a template award, and he did that, very modular, so that we can work quickly and make sure that we have a nice big show for everyone. And then certain times we have custom awards get made, you know, because someone has a really ridiculous idea. So like the guy that's been making the VR award for the past 3 years, knocking it out of the fucking park, you know, because he grew up on 90s TV and really enjoys that era and wants people to feel like they're in 1991, 1992, 1993, because this is the shit he grew up with, you know. So yeah, like just, you know, it's that balance of like, okay, so we need this award in the show, but we don't have like a cool custom idea for it. Can someone crank this out really quickly to make sure it gets its flowers in the live stream?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, one of the advantages interviewing us too is that we're both intensely involved in the production process of making the awards happen. Multiple different areas. So Donnie voice acts, Donnie writes, Donnie also makes videos for the show. I do video editing at the template awards. I do. I've written a lot for the show. I also do outreach. So we wear a lot of hats. But yeah, the video project, I'm sure when you see a lot of big YouTubers, is like, you think it's just them, the ones who are presenting the videos that have 1 million subscribers, editing the videos? Fuck no, they have a fucking writing, they got a fucking full-on writing team, video team, they're all paid and all that shit. Fuck no. But we do have a volunteer, it's a volunteer project, so it's a volunteer people of various departments. So you've got the voice actors saying the speeches, you've got the writers writing the speeches, you've got the video people finding footage that is relevant to those speeches as well as to the nominees that are being presented. And so like with our template, Sagab has made 2013 all the way to 2020, and then Shud has made 2021 all the way to 2023. And one of the innovations that Shudda did, so this is the more recent parts of our awards, is he made a tool called VGA Tool. So in After Effects, it basically lines up the sweep points of each nominee. That's the it's basically explains how much of a difference between each of the nominees in terms of margin. So what you have is the most preferred candidate versus the second most preferred, third most, and so on and so forth. One of his innovations is that he's able to make the keyframing automatic. So basically that is automatically done as part of the movement when you see the cursor go from left to right or when you see the sweep points get tallied. Because in the old days, meaning 2015, that was the first year we did that's the first year we did sweep points, you had to manually keyframe all that shit. And as a video editor, that took a long time to get all of that in. That was an extra step you had to do. But and regarding times to make the awards, once you have all the pieces together and you've got the footage and everything, making sure everything is timed up and synced up right, it does take about 3 hours for the first award. And then as you do more, the time is a little bit less because you're more familiar with the template and how it works. But yeah, it's an incredibly involved process. The template awards, even though they are working on like a boilerplate, that's why we call it the template, they still take a long time to make. And they're also the majority of our awards content as well. Because of that, because of the fact it's easier to do that than to do 25 custom awards. The template award gives you that visual presentation and that cohesion, and it makes it more achievable. So by doing that, you're able to involve more video editors to make that happen.
Yeah, it's fun to see the guy take damage against the RPG enemy.
Yes. Good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. It's education tonight. Hugh Man, producer Hugh. You got any questions regarding the process for these gentlemen?
Not really, awards shows.
Yeah. Award shows. Who are they even for?
There was a there was a person I met at.
They don't give out awards, and it's not a show.
Yeah. There was a person who I met at PAX West. One of the things she brought up is the fact that you do have all of these nominees and you have these winners, but what happens to the games that didn't get enough nominations? What happens to the games where it not only didn't win but wasn't nominated enough? Just like you were mentioning, a lot of the games that kind of are under the radar. And, the best answer is that you try and find as many ways to incorporate them as possible. So you do have the best game nobody played, and you do have the, Guilty Pleasure Award, but as well as our results where you could see all of the games that not only weren't top 5, but, it's top 6 through top 12. I think last year, we did top 16 for best game of 2003. Yeah. You really want 16 fucking... nominees, but anyway, but just being able to showcase that variety, and ultimately it is a 4chan project, so you do have that local bias, meaning games that 4chan would like, as opposed to if you broaden the brush to be a fucking ginormous population. But basically being able to give as much flowers to as many games as possible. Have a variety in your award show is a positive thing.
Yeah, totally.
Small side note. Best of 2003, 16 nominees, the largest bracket we've ever done. That's an extremely long story for another day. But what you should know, Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced did not make it in that expanded bracket.
Whoa.
Fucking hate that
I
game.
can believe that, actually. I remember only ever seeing people hating on it my entire life.
People were thinking Simpsons Head and Run was gonna make it to the top 5. Rip.
Killer 7 come out again?
Yeah, I've heard that's a pretty good one. Like talking about GTA clones again. Fucking Simpsons Hit and Run.
And that's a game that clearly had passion from the developers. You know, they wanted to adapt Springfield in a virtual space.
They hired all the voice actors to do special lines for the game, which was not cheap, I assure you.
Yeah, I had actually never seen a single episode of The Simpsons before playing that game. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And then I watched the show, and no one was getting hit by a car. No one was dying.
False
It was
advertising.
terrible.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, I suppose this kind of segues into our next topic about, you know, looking forward towards the future. You know, is there anything you guys could tell us about your process for this year's VGAs? Have you begun anything? Are there any games that you think you'll be covering this year that have come out?
Infinite
like
Wealth,
that.
which I'm playing, is probably going to be nominated for a bunch of shit.
Okay, hell yeah.
Yep, the Yakuza games usually rank high in best representation of men. It was actually an upset that Peppino beat Cosma for best character and also beat Yakuza for best representation of men. But yeah, this upcoming year, so Shut stepped down as the maker of the template, so we don't have anyone like lined up to make a visual template next year. So we don't know what the plan is. Like, are we gonna remix an older template? Are we gonna make one in a different video program? Yeah, not sure where that's going.
Wow,
So
exciting.
I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
Also, our community feedback has been loud and clear. They want less quality checks on the skits. They want more cringe. And the new /old director Countertunes agrees because I exerted more editorial control than most over the skits. So like I wanted a high quality show, and there's trade-offs with that. He wants to, you know, if someone's gonna make 3 minutes of shit, he's gonna put in all 3 minutes as opposed to just the good 2 minutes. So it's going to be a little more stripped down, a little more punk rock, definitely some rougher edges, but that's exactly how he wants it.
So we have a shot.
I can give you, give it a shot. So yeah, probably going to be closer to the older shows in tone. And I have these direct words from Countertunes himself that he would like me to read.
All right.
Expect nothing. Get something.
I fuck with that. I might be biased, but I fuck with that.
That's healthy, yeah.
That's been our
Right
approach
on.
from day one. It really has. I mean, like, nobody expected a award show from 4chan to fucking do it, and they did it. And they not only did it, they did it 13 years. We've been around in terms of longevity longer than the Spike Video Game Awards. They had immense funding, I assure you, with tons of and they had a lot of buy-in as well. Buy-in in the sense of, hey, we all want to be a part of this project. But with this, it's like only the people that want to do it are a part of it. Only the people that believe in this project are a part of this. So I think what we've got going on is like definitely look forward to 2024's VGAs. We definitely I would say what Counter said is most accurate. Expect nothing and get something. Because 2013 was a year very similar where we didn't know where to begin, but I can say this for sure. Now that we have 13 award shows and not 2, we're in a much better place. And people can rest assured we have immense experience now. So we just need we need people like and DonnyQ said this, and it was a different call. We have sushi chefs, we've got people who are experts in various different areas, and being able to make sure that everyone is given a place to do their best and to make sure that we're able to make sushi,
Yeah. I love that. I love the idea of like this punk rock mentality with the award show.
We've always been, man.
Very DIY, yeah.
Fuck the industry.
Hell yeah. And it's totally representative of the community. Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Where would it be without, someone dressed as 2B riding a skateboard?
Fucking people.
Yeah.
Thirsting and shit.
Exactly. Memes aren't about why; they're about why not.
Yeah.
What would it be without, shoehorning in Senator Armstrong? That's random points
Exactly.
throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, every show until you like it.
Yeah, yeah. And if we don't do another, just know that they liked it enough. So, yeah.
The things you can be like, can I has cheeseburger?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Let's bring him back.
You shoot the woo, perhaps? No?
All right. Was that a Kanye reference that I just heard?
Shoot the
No,
Roop or
it's-
Whooper hats?
Or what did you say,
fucking,
Nick?
Firing my laser.
I'm a firing my laser.
I'm a charge of my
okay,
laser. Damn, you have been around a
Yeah,
while.
man, I'm
Shit.
old. You can't see my grays, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, DonnyQ, you said you were stepping down, What are your plans, post VGAs?
Well, I can tell you that we released the director's cut about 2.5 weeks ago, and I've been getting a lot of fucking sleep. Let me tell you that.
Of that?
Because anyone on the show will tell you I've been extremely hands-on this year because, it is my last year. I know how to run the show. I understand. Even though this is like a meme internet award show, this still is part of my personal history and the legacy that I choose to
totally,
leave behind. So I put a lot of fucking work into it. But I'm also I had a much better work-life balance this year. I'm 10 pounds lighter. So still, I still wasn't quite there. I was still doing too much. So we're making healthier choices now.
Good. I
Next
love
year-
that.
Thank you. And next year, still gonna have those nice big boundaries in place. I'll probably still help with writing speeches and maybe voice acting and maybe still do some voice direction stuff for the show like I have been. So still plan to be around a little bit, but my experience on the show and in other places has also given me the opportunity to get paid work in entertainment in other places.
Very
So
cool. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of, what things like the VJs allow people to do. If you have no connections and no prior experience, this is a great place to cut your teeth on something with as little consequence as possible. Because if you fuck it up, you're anonymous. If you do great, you can carry those skills with you somewhere else. So yeah, I've got a nice lazy summer ahead. Got a little bit of paid voice direction work to do, but yeah, I'm gonna keep sharp. Don't worry.
Yeah. Keep your
Excellent,
eyes on
excellent.
$1 Million Extreme 2 channel, folks. Basically what he's saying. Keep your eyes on Mega 64.
Right on.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
yeah, I'm still a part of the ship until it sinks. I gotta say though, yeah, I am super appreciative of all the people I've met throughout the process of working on the show. I've met several of them in real life. They are amazing people, and when people are like, oh, not only we're from the internet, but we're from 4chan, people are thinking, oh yeah, you got the worst possible people, mass casualty events in process. It's like, nah, man, there are bad people out there in the world, but there's bad people on every website. There's bad people on everywhere
Truly.
you go.
Yeah.
And getting to work with these people and see how dedicated they are to the craft, and not only that, to see how amazing people they are it's amazing. And
You're kind of representing the best of that community.
yeah,
which is
and
wonderful.
one of the things WT Snacks said. WT Snacks is he created 4chan's V board,
Yes.
and he also was one of the first moderators of 4chan. And
Wow.
one of the
Using all
things he
those
said is
cool
that he's
Flash
really
animations.
Yeah. He's legendary. But the fact he said, this project is something that people look back on and they say, this is a good thing that we've got going on. And there are other 4chan projects that are doing amazing work. The modern V3, you got King and Queen of V. You've got, the Snoop game developers are now making original IP, Wanna Hug That Gator. You've got Katawa Shoujo developers that made it. You've got all the AGDG developers, and there are many, tons. We've got people that who worked on our award show and are now making their own video games. It's an amazing process, and people are like, yeah, it's like, oh, you look so low. Or not you look so low, but people think so low of the website. But the only thing that does, man, you can only go up from there. You can only go up from there. And I love proving motherfuckers wrong. Everyone
That's a
does,
great
don't they?
mentality.
I love it. But yeah, like
Rising from the ashes.
you love when people. I love being underestimated. I love that people underestimate our project, and although it is niche, although viewership's little, we have immense passion in this project. And I think what we're able to do is something that, at the end of the day, is positive for the community. It's positive for the wider gaming industry because of the fact that we're able to deliver this without. Oh no, my review keys! I'm not gonna get them anymore. We don't have to fucking deal with that because no one's getting fucking paid. So it's like, also, nobody's life is on the line. Nobody's job is on the line, so we don't have to deal with that coercion that might be common in, a different type of project. What we have is something that we're able to frankly look at the industry where it is, where it's going, and to know what we can do to hopefully make it a better place.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it should be for. I think that the fact that it does inspire people, the fact that it is what it is something I would say it's like the greatest thing that could come from maybe 4chan as a whole. I don't really go on a lot of other boards, to be honest. Really, I don't really go on that much anymore. More of a fit guy nowadays.
Based?
But...
What's your stack, bro? What's your stack?
Well, oh yeah, I know about what you're saying. Anyways. But no, I do think that you have concrete evidence that it inspires people. With the average game developers, you have concrete evidence that, great things can come from seemingly nothing. And, better than anything else, you can rub whatever it may be, in the faces of the haters. And what more could you want?
Yeah, the non-believers,
Whether
totally.
that's, creating this game show, whether it's making something that people laugh at and enjoy and look back on, whether it's people going online and directly messaging or directly tweeting at Jeff Keighley and saying, how come these 20 nobodies are doing a better show than you can do that. Not to be too hard on Jeff. I know you and he are close personal friends.
And we know he's listening. We know he listens. He listens to every episode.
Yeah, so what was this? Okay, so Dave the Dev San Francisco, I was out there. I was checking out some of the indie games there as well. I saw the guy a second time. And I was like, yo, Jeff, what's up? He's like, yeah, you having a good time? I'm like, and I say right back, you having a good time? And like fucking spilling spaghetti all over my pockets and shit. No, and then I went and proceeded to play some video games. And I saw him walk around like he was all pissed or something. Hopefully nothing bad was happening. But yeah, no. I think what we're able to offer is something that's really unique to the board we serve. And the fact that we don't take any money, we don't take donations, the fact that this is a non-commercial project, the fact that it's been going on for 13 years, and the fact that the people who, worked on the Spike Video Game Awards, namely Jeff Keighley, who was executive producer in charge and all that shit, making this new project, he's making improvements, he's getting there, but, at the end of the day, it can't be this 4chan project. He can't be this 4chan project. What we have, because of our community, what we're able to offer is something so unique that you cannot ape it. So it's something that I think a lot of people are taking note on, and I think that's why it's inspired these other smaller award shows to try and do their thing. The Horror Game Awards, which you guys covered, the OTK Game Awards that were like the day after, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, just realizing that like what we're offering is basically an opportunity for our voters to get their fair shot, and all these games, they get a fair shot too. I really feel that what we have is something special, and I'm so glad to be a part of it.
And it is. I'm going to say it right now. I'm speaking for the whole world. It is something special. Anyone who disagrees is just wrong.
Yeah,
That's
right.
right.
Be all and
You're
all.
a hater.
All right, and I suppose my last question regarding your plans for the future. We mentioned earlier in the show, you guys have, as a result of the work you've done, you've been granted media badges and press badges to various conventions. Is that something you guys plan on?
A balmy summer night, winter night at PAX. Yes, we're very close now here in beatstar and I.
Nice. We'll try again. PAX West, of course. Yeah. We'll see other events as well.
I'm a native to Seattle, so it was easy for me to attend PAX last year. If they liked the interview that I did last year, I'd be happy to come again and do one that's slightly better.
There you go. Yeah.
The playism interview.
Yeah.
Do what? Yeah,
oh man.
Yeah.
Can I get to talk about this? Oh fuck!
Yeah,
I
no,
am
yeah.
so fucking
Go,
pissed
go,
at
go,
myself. Fuck!
Are you? Are you?
All right, all right.
That
Check
was
this out.
something I
Check
watched
this out.
as well
Right,
before
I saw
this.
in
Here we
your
go. Here we go.
subtitles
Here
you
we go.
mentioned you weren't aware that you were speaking to Mr. Playism.
So before even that, let beatstar give his spiel because he wasn't there.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay, yeah,
apologize
please,
for
please.
years to DonnyQ. No, this really is my fault. Here I was thinking I'm gonna save some money by spending the night at Las Vegas. So it was cheaper to have an overnight layover at Las Vegas than it was to fly to Seattle directly. It was like $170 versus like $70 to do the two.
There you go.
one
Yeah.
stop. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Little did I know, at the end of August, it rains in the desert. So I fucking spend the night in Las Vegas. I wake up and there's rain and shit. I'm like, huh? And it flooded. It flooded in Las Vegas, and they grounded all of the flights. And I flew Spirit, which, as you know, is the best airline in the world.
Oh
So
yeah, we
the
love
next-
Spirit Airlines.
the next flight that was available wasn't for like 5 days because everybody else just traded their tickets for the next flight. So that flight was full, and all the passengers that were on that flight on that day, they also couldn't fly. So it's like fuck. So basically, what happened was I ended up using my I ended up flying with another airline, spending a bunch of money, wasting a bunch of time. I didn't even get to do the Playism interview with DonnyQ. This was our first
God damn.
interview with another developer. Yeah, it's like fuck. That really. Man, I feel so bad. DonnyQ did the best job, as you can imagine. And what we were able to do is something I was able to, I guess you say, copy for PAX East, where he asked the developer at the end of the interview, how would you describe your food? How would you describe your game as a food? And yeah. I think we really represent our audience by doing that.
So layover in Vegas, and you say that it
fucked
rained.
shit
That's
up,
the
man.
story. That's the
Do
story
not,
you gave to Donnie
do not
for losing
fucking
all
do
your
an
money in the
overnight
slots.
layover in Vegas. I'm telling you, bro,
Right.
don't do that shit. Don't do it.
Right. I'll tell that one to the missus next time I have a boys'
Oh,
trip.
you
What
know, it
happens
was
in Vegas stays
the
in
rain
Vegas,
in the
including your
desert.
flights.
Yeah, sorry about that, dear. Yeah, it was raining in the desert, so I had to spend all my money on the ticket back a week from now.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, right on.
But yeah, we were able to close out PAX with a very good showcase of all the games we saw. And in fact, we met Dreamer Must Die.
Oh,
That
yeah.
Oh, you met Hunter.
Yeah,
Good,
Hunter.
good friend
Yeah.
of ours.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to have him back on.
Hell yeah.
Oh, we will.
These
I've already
days,
got
yeah.
him locked in for the next update.
Okay, perfect.
And,
And
you
he
just
go ahead.
yeah, just like you guys are doing when you go and travel the circuit to these conventions and you see people from event to event, you are going to build these rapports with these developers, and you get to see their projects grow. And just like our project, we've done it for 13 years. You'll get to see their games grow as well, from the testing development stages to what they're showcasing at PAX and stuff, and finally the finished project. And really seeing that, I'm sure they are so immensely proud of what they've done, each of them. And
And I really got to give Nick credit.
Yeah.
For being the one out there, because he's the one that
you.
attends the conventions. I haven't set foot into anyone with Nick yet. So
Yes.
he's really the one that's networking for us. And so I am very, very appreciative of
As soon as I
your
tap
work.
that content creator form,
Definitely.
he's in.
Definitely. You guys are on it, though. You guys are on it. You guys
appreciate
contact a
that.
lot of developers, so definitely keep it up. Yeah, certainly.
Well, I mean, the whole reason I have a podcast is just to talk to people who are interesting to you, I think. Anything more than that, and you're more of a rat than human, I would say.
Oh, yeah, like the people that
Yeah.
are climbing the social ladder. Fuck that bullshit.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
that shit.
I do worry
Yeah, no.
sometimes. Every time I hand out my business card, even when I handed you my business card, I was like, this guy, I hope he does not think I'm a complete piece of shit.
scum. Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, who's working on the 4chan award show?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, look at me. It's like, oh, I hope Mr. 4chan likes me.
Mr. 4chan award show.
Chad, could you put a good word
Well, I
for
mean,
me with
that-
Mr. 4chan?
I gave him my card, and like, yeah, you know what fucking sucks about that? Yeah, so when I met Jeff for the first time and we had that discussion, and he really is reflecting back on those Spike years, and he learned a lot from that and how not to do award shows. But yeah, he said, yeah, I'm gonna check this out. I'm gonna check it out. And the following day, after I met him,
I
our
like your
website
Hugh
crashed.
impression.
I'm like, fuck!
The ninjas.
No, that was when voting opened, so it was like, yeah, whatever. But basically,
voting opens.
yeah, you get to meet all of these guys, and I've met quite a few developers that we featured on our award show. The Kind Words 2 developer, As Dusk Falls, Caroline Marshall.
Oh, nice.
One year, this was actually last year. So I met her first in the 2022 Game Awards after party, and then after that, 2023, one of my friends lost her glasses. They were like Oakleys that were from the 90s that were super expensive, and we were like, shit, I wonder where these are. And then at around 2 or 3 in the morning, or really, really early hours, Caroline Marshall and her friend Brimley were sitting there, and there were my friend's glasses. And I'm like, you were keeping watch of this? And like the guy said, hey, your friend must have really good fashion taste. So like, yeah. And we hit it off, and I was able to explain. I was like, yeah. And I said, hey, I remember you. And she's like, I remember you too. I'm like, shit, cool. But like she remembers the Video Game Awards nomination for most pretentious, and is able to laugh it off, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, we realize this, but you're still able to talk about the game, and it didn't win most pretentious,
right? But
like being able to like discuss and like realize, hey, what you were doing, and she was the one who presented Games for Impact that year. It's like, yes, these people, they know about video games. It's not like they don't know about video games. Sure, our voters might find it pretentious, but like it was a very lovely person to talk to, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Yeah, I have a good experience with a lot of people. There's not a lot of people I don't like in gaming. There are some people that rub me the wrong way, but I'm like, no, most of the people, even if they're nominated for bad things, most of the people they're cool. They're cool with it.
That's reassuring to hear.
Exclusively co-op, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's really the important takeaway is whether you're Jeff Keighley and you're juggling all these corporate interests, or you're the 4chan Video Game Award show, we're all just people doing our best, man.
Everyone is doing their best. And I'm going to say this too. Nobody wants to make a bad game on purpose. Unless, no, nobody wants to make a bad game. I really don't think anyone wants to make a bad game. Even one that's, jarring, like Cruelty Squad.
Not even Gollum. Not even Gollum or the King Kong Skull.
So I spoke to somebody who did the PR for Gollum all the way up to release, and what he had told me, what he had told me is that the people, Daedalic, they were not listening to any of the suggestions that they were making to say, hey, in terms of gameplay, because you see how Gollum plays. It plays like shit. But like, they weren't making any concessions as to how it should interact and how it makes. But the people who are doing the PR, they only do the PR. They don't do the game development. So like, they were talking about that. It's like, hey, listen to your fans, listen to your feedback. There was one studio, they've never been nominated in our show, Mixie. They were asking, hey, what should we do to get nominated in your award show? I say, don't do anything different. Don't do anything different. Just listen to your customers, listen to your fans. And in the end, it's going to work out. Yep. Just don't change it because somebody from an award show tells you to change it. Never change it.
Yeah. And going back to like, was Gollum made bad on purpose? Not by the people who designed it. Because again, like it's the corporate office that says, this is your budget, this is your deadline, this is the PR company we're working with. And so if you're asked to recreate a beautiful landscape, but they only give you half a bucket of red paint and they want it done in 10 minutes, like, you're not Bob Ross, and even Bob Ross needs 22 minutes.
Aptly put.
I think that it's finally gone, but I would say the only time people have actually gone out of their way to make, maybe not necessarily a bad game, but people making games with zero passion, and people, luckily, for the most part, were able to see right through it, was the NFT pay-to-earn craze that I think has thankfully died down now, but that was a pretty
breathing a sigh of relief. All those fucking celebrities that co-opted it and changed their avatars, those fucking
Snoop
doofuses.
Dogg.
Yeah.
I bet they're so happy they lost money.
Yeah.
Do you, completely unrelated to any of this, do you guys remember the Snoop Dogg Eminem NFT rap?
I didn't know
Certainly
that.
don't. I know.
There was a really, I think it was on the same MTV Awards show, where they had these two rappers I've never heard of, and they had a giant hologram of a shaking ass while they were like mumbling into a microphone.
Eminem
right
actually,
after that,
he co-opted NFTs for a long time. I wonder if his avatar is still one. But yeah,
he had the Eminem Bored Ape.
Oh no, my favorite rapper. Kidding.
They made 3D models of the Snoop Dogg and Eminem Bored Apes and had them do an NFT song which premiered on MTV.
Oh yeah,
pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's so much grift with NFTs though. It's hilarious. Like my favorite cartoon, even though it's a shitty one, is the one with Connie, but the name is a joke, like con artist. Yeah. Oh, Coinland or something like that. It was just hilarious. It was a great cartoon. Cryptoland,
Cryptoland,
yes. Oh my god. Great comic. Horrible premise, but yeah.
Yeah, like the whole Ubisoft Ghost Recon NFT bullshit. That is like the logical conclusion of turning art into business. Play to earn. Well, then I'm not playing a fun game with other people who want to play a fun game. I am simply here to grind and make money because this is the best way for me to make money, right? Like Team Fortress 2 is a fun ass game. Yeah, people make money selling hats, but the vast majority are there to play Team Fortress 2. And if you want to do trading and shit, there are special servers for that. Not everyone is forced into that economy, into that mindset to accomplish that goal.
It's like people looked at the Brazilians playing RuneScape and selling gold because it makes more money than Real and be like, that is a great business model. We should emulate that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah, money. Fuck money. That's like the whole point of this is fuck capitalism.
honestly,
If we learned anything from this interview,
that is the main thing I miss from the Newgrounds days is people just making cartoons and games and just putting them out
for the
just
sake of
because
doing it.
They
Yeah.
wanted to do it. You know, long gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be here till midnight if you get me talking about that. But I will talk about my interview with Mizutani.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's get to it. Yeah.
So, yeah, BeatStar couldn't make it, so I had to record it myself. And that meant that I had to hold my voice recorder in one hand, which didn't end up working really well, so I had to use my phone's audio. But regardless, I had to hold up both. So I get to the Players booth, and I'm there 90 minutes early. And, like, I had skimmed their catalog. I'm like, okay, so they focus on niche Japanese shit. Great. I love it. I'm glad that someone picked it. And we're going to do Metal Bringer. Looks like a great game. Okay, cool. So I sat down, and Metal Bringer has like a 10-minute demo. So I played it twice, and I played one of the other games. And I'm like, okay, I'm researched. I'm ready to go. And before any of that, I had talked with one of the people like manning the booth because they didn't have like the Japanese staff doing it. They hired a PR firm, who speaks English and stuff. And like, okay, cool. So I talked to this person. I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm from the Video Game Awards. I'm here for the 5:30 interview. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Let me get you to somebody. So he grabs this gal, and I tell her, hey, I'm from the Video Game Awards. We have a 5:30 interview. She's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, let me get you this other guy. So then this other guy fucking talks to me. And it is from him, like the guy running the PR for the entire booth, that I am interviewing someone named Mizutani. I'm like, okay, cool. So he must be the developer or something. Great. So then I sit down and I play the games and I take in Metal Bringer, and I really loved like the customization it had. Like it really feels like that Flash game era because you get to pick what's in your left hand, what's in your right hand, what your little robot dude looks like, and you're just shooting shit. Right? It's excellent game. I can't wait for it to come out. But then here comes Mizutani, and Mizutani has a translator named Michael. He was on screen. I get to say that.
Yeah.
He was on camera. He wanted to be on camera. But anyway, and this is when I find out that Mizutani is the head of Playism. So he didn't develop Metal Bringer. So all the shit I was ready to ask about Metal Bringer, he probably doesn't know. Like, I mean, maybe he does, but like it's gonna take some effort to get it out of him because he's got all these other games he's got to juggle.
Yeah.
So fuck, I'm talking to the head fucking guy, and I have no clue what the fuck's going on. So you kind of see that in the beginning of the interview where it's like, oh shit, I thought I was prepared and I am not fucking prepared. But we had we made a good interview out of it. Yeah. We did have a bit of a mistranslation or a misunderstanding near the end because, like, you know, being a director myself of a micro niche internet award show, like, you know, that was the lesson for me last year because I was much heavier. It was like, you know, how do you find time to relax? You know, like work-life balance is very important for me, and I thought it was for him, but no, that Japanese work ethic is a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
And he got a little annoyed at the question of, you know, how dare you assume that I don't take my work as seriously as I can? I'm like, oh fuck, I just fucked up. So that's when I backpedaled a bit and talked about whatever the hell else I talked about. But then I ended it on the joke, like, okay, you know, because food analogies are very popular on 4chan, and by that I mean they are so ubiquitous that they are unpopular, which has made them go.
What's the
back into being
McChicken of Dark
popular.
Souls?
Yeah. So if you could describe Metal Bringers a food item, and he said like some kind of fish and rice dish. So I'm like, okay, it's hearty, it's filling. You know, just kind of got us over the finish line on that one, and thanked him for the interview. And then I came back right before the booth closed, and I gave Michael 2 stickers, one for him because he translated, and one for Mizutani if they happen to meet up again. But what really pissed me off about this, okay, is I was really into RPG Maker like 8-ish years ago, okay?
Okay.
Guess who published most of the RPG Maker shit on Steam? Yeah, so fucking, like, off the top of my head, Artifact Adventure was done by Playism, so I could have talked to him about that. Fucking, I'm gonna type this in right now because I think I'm right.
Go for it. Yeah.
Fucking Ebe was published by fucking Playism. Fucking Yume Nikki, the remake, Dream Diary. Guess who fucking published that?
Oh wow.
Serenity Forge.
Playism. So
And Yik!
there's this
Yik was Playism
Yeah.
or Isbert too, I think. I think they were both.
Isbert, yeah.
Yik was Isbrit. But yeah, so like there's this whole range of shit that I could have
And you
connected with
could've.
him on. Yeah, and it's such a missed opportunity, and here we are, nearly a year later. I'm still fucking pissed
Guess
about
you
it.
have to talk to him again.
But that
Yeah, get that redemption arc. We love those. Yeah.
that's right. So yeah, if I run into this motherfucker again, I
You're
will
prepared.
be ready.
Hell yeah.
Tani-san,
Yeah.
first of all, I know you work very hard. I'm not going to question that. What are your thoughts on Ebe?
Yeah, you'd be
Yeah,
perfectly fluent in
Yeah, 'cause no-
Japanese. Yeah.
yeah, seriously, think about that shit. Like he runs the entire operation, and you have so many RPG Maker games in your catalog. Clearly, there's a passion from this guy. He is greenlighting this shit. He is selling it in an attempt to profit. Like, I would love to talk to him about that. Because clearly this is something that, if it isn't personal for him, like, he knows someone who really advocates for RPG Maker.
Yeah.
And I would love to talk to him about that, if I didn't completely fucking offend him the first time.
Tani-san, have you ever heard of Lisa the Painful RPG?
Yeah. Hey, well, you know, here's fingers crossed that you'll get that second interview. You know, hopefully your paths will cross again at some point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
It's in the stars.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So as we kind of are winding down for today's episode, we do have some questions from our community. So Nick, would you like to start
Yes.
broaching these?
So, first of all, very pressing episode. What is your favorite episode of Ed, Ed, and Eddie? Both of you.
It's been so fucking long, and I was gonna watch it, but I just didn't have time. The one where Rolf gets
No
pissed
worries.
off because he's normally
Yes!
like a really chill guy, and then he just gets irrationally angry.
Really sticks with you. Yeah.
Yes,
the fish.
that stuck with me.
That was a great one.
Did you not bring the cupcakes of silence?
Yes, yeah.
When he duels Eddie at the end, kind of that scared me as a kid. I was like, oh my god,
It was amazing.
raw fly.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Next question is, in your opinion, what's the worst game to?
What about my
Oh,
favorite
excuse me,
episode?
excuse me.
Oh my
You
god.
like the
I
episode
thought
with
you
Jimmy
shared them
Sumo.
both.
Next question.
Clip that. Shameful, rude host. Yeah.
So
Clip.
Put it on the front page. Print it.
I like the one where they play with the animation, where
Yeah.
like shit keeps
Yeah,
falling apart, and
pulls
like
the-
Ed takes a bite out
They
of the
take the
moon.
outline out
Life
and he
has many
melts.
doors, Ed boy. Yes. Yeah, Jimmy melts. I like Avasti Eds, which is the last episode of season 1, because I just finished watching this shit on DVD a couple months ago.
Oh, wonderful.
I like the Vasti Eds where Double D plays like not the slide guitar, but some kind of string instrument like it.
Yeah.
Mandolin or something.
Yeah, and then mostly I
Pedal
liked
steel,
an episode
perhaps?
in
Yeah.
season. Yeah, I liked mostly the one in season 3 where it's free Jawbreaker Day, but they keep running into distractions, and it's like a Greek epic where they're each being tested on like their foibles and their loyalties to each other, and they're trying to get there before it closes. But like, there's a big line of chickens in front of it, and Ed's like, "But I love chickens, Eddie," so they can't cross.
Yeah, Oedipus thought he suffered. He hasn't seen Ed and Eddie.
Yeah.
He didn't live in that cul-de-sac.
Yeah, I mean,
Right
think
on.
about it. Same first syllable too.
Okay. Our next question. In your opinion, what's the worst game to get an award? And what game comes to mind that deserved an award but didn't get one? I'm not sure if this is specific to your show or just the greater, space of award shows in general, but interpret it as you will.
All right. Beatstar, did you have them or should I go first?
You can go first.
Okay. So what game comes to mind that deserved an award but didn't get one? Well, last year, 2022, we had an award called the Golden Snub for Best Game to Never Win a Video Game Award.
Okay.
And in case you didn't know, way back in the day, Papers, Please was cucked for Best Character in 2013 by a very slim margin of votes. Like Georgie from Papers, Please almost won Best Character, and Lucas Pope himself, despite losing, still made a custom animated award for us for the show.
Just goes to show how much of an amazing guy he is. Like, shout out to him.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So Papers, Please gets nominated for Golden Snub because it was completely cucked the year it came out. And it loses again. It gets second place to Dragon's Dogma because Dragon's Dogma didn't win any awards when it came out. So yeah, Papers, Please was snubbed in ways that most people cannot comprehend the level of snub. Most people never experienced the level of snub that Papers, Please got. So hashtag justice for Papers, Please.
There you go.
And then worst game to get an award. This is just a personal foible of mine because we just worked on the show, but I'm still mad about it. We had the Cluck Like a Chicken Award for worst voice acting of all time.
Okay.
And to the credit of our voting base, it doesn't appear that they just Googled worst voice acting of all time because Chaos Wars, which is normally at like the top of those like BuzzFeed or IGN rankings or whatever, it took almost a week for Chaos Wars to like crack into like the top 10, top 5 and actually be a serious nominee. So people weren't just Googling it. They were coming up with the answer on their own, which I appreciate. But what I do not appreciate is handing the award to fucking Forspoken just because it came out this year.
Yeah, that is shocking that it wasn't, what's it fucking called? Zero Wing or whatever?
Zero Wing did not actually have voice acting.
Oh, Microsoft Sam.
Yeah, so that was just people using Microsoft Sam because that was for Sega Genesis. Like that's so goddamn old. Like technically voice acting was possible, but the game didn't have it. That was just people.
That's what made the meme, all your base and stuff. Yeah,
Okay,
that was just added in, yeah.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, and Zero Wing did in fact win worst translation of all time in
I was
the
just
show.
pretending
Hey, there you
to
go.
be stupid. Actually,
Main
I knew
screen
that.
turn on. Yeah.
But yeah, like hashtag justice for Forspoken. It did not deserve worst voice acting. That was recency bias.
Right, that wasn't the main issue with it.
Yeah.
They were
Correct.
they were very what's the word? They had great diction. You could understand everything they said.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was not the problem.
Yep.
All right, Beatstar.
With their freaking mind.
Yeah.
So regarding my picks of what was snubbed in our award show, honestly, I mean, I look back on these and I'm like, most of them are pretty good. I know some of our voters, they may have their feelings also attached. I just work on the award show. I don't really have a strong feeling one way or another when some wins. Getting emotionally invested in it is bad, bad for production. So I really don't mind. But one of the things I'd like to draw attention to is the fact that people's taste can change over time. And whereas Metal Gear Rising Revengeance has been so enduring, and I'm not talking down on it, but how it's been so enduring as opposed to a game like... for instance, The Walking Dead, where people were like, oh, that game won? A Telltale game won? Because compared to other games that were in that era, that was the best that people were able to play at the time. And by that, I mean maybe people played on PC mostly. Similarly to 2011, where Dark Souls won Best Gameplay, but it didn't win much else. And I think there was one year where it's like Dark Souls was like considered to be one of the more snubbed games, or why didn't it win? Well, the reason why is because Prepare to Die Edition and it going on the PC wasn't a thing. And Prepare to Die Edition was incredibly buggy on launch. So it's like people with hindsight, they speak with 2020, like compared to where it is back then. situations are different, games get patched, games get optimized.
Sure,
Yeah. As opposed to
Certainly.
games that were like the worst game that ever won an award that shouldn't have won the award. Our voters voted Gone Home for 2017 for worst game to sweep the VGAs, and they took it literally. I think instead of the game that swept the most categories, I mean that's kind of like a factual one, but it's more like what was the worst game that won so many awards. So I guess it was a negative award. So a game that won negative awards, that won the most of them, that people look back so much with contempt, is Gone Home. And in a sense, I kind of understand. You know, it's a walking simulator. You can, if you know, you could just bypass the entire story and go right to the end. But yeah, like I personally, I look back and I'm like, people vote the way that they do. I don't look back at any of my games or any of the games that I voted for and be like, man, you know, this game should have won. I was a huge fan of the Hitman series, and when Hitman Absolution was placing like 11th and 8th in certain categories, I didn't like that so much, but that's just my personal taste, you know? It's like, I'm actually surprised that people don't realize how much sacrilege these guys did with that game. That's why they brought it back with new Hitman, you know, like, they didn't want this linear shit. But anyway, yeah.
Oh man, I'm a big Hitman
You
fan.
love that? Yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, I was just playing fucking freelancer mode earlier today before we jumped
I just
on.
like how new
Fucking
Hitman basically is like it tells the witnesses tell how much they know about you. So like if they only get hit in the head, they don't have much to go off of. But if they see
I'm
you,
sorry, I don't know. Yeah.
But if they
I
see
love
you,
that
they
shit.
explain exactly what uniform you're wearing and all that, and the enemies then radio others. That was a huge jump up from Absolution, or as some people call it, absolute shit. But yeah, I loved.
Absolution was an odd one.
I love Blood Money too. Blood Money was amazing. Even though the AI is kind of finicky, it was just the settings were really nice. And,
yeah, those levels. Ugh, okay,
Yeah.
don't want to get
Anyway,
don't wanna get
yeah.
stuck on it.
Sorry, but yeah, like I guess that's the
Wonderful. No,
only
I mean,
one where I'm like,
I love it.
I kind of don't understand why it didn't rank so high in the placement. I think people just thought it more disappointing as opposed to actually bad. You know,
Yeah.
Mid-end games don't do very well in our award shows. Mediocre games do not do well. You know, games that are like both good and bad, like they won't do well. But games that are extraordinarily good, extraordinarily bad, like American Idol, you know, it's like shit, fuck.
Yeah.
The William Chung of games.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll just be holding my breath for the 2025, see what Killer 7 gets in the VR award. If it doesn't win, there will be consequences.
Our last year to do it too. So yeah, because we already had our first VR award, I believe, was 96. So we got the 96 awards, and then if you want the 20-year ago award, or fuck, it's been 30 years, shit. But yeah, basically, yeah. Like it's so nice that we're able to catalog those older years as well, so people can look back at those too.
Yeah.
Great segments too. You know, not to be too nice or anything, but
Yeah.
those VR segments are very good.
Who knows? We might see the fucking the AVGN. No, I'm joking. The AVGN
Oh, I
award. We're gonna look
wish.
back at the old games and the ones that sucked. No.
Sorry, guys, we couldn't get AVGN, but here's Mike Matei.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, I'm humoring the idea. I was like, no.
No. Nostalgia Critic, Irate Gamer.
All right, Nick, you want to take the next question?
Yes, so from, I believe, user Raccoons, we have, you guys joke about rendering up to the date of the show, but that can't have ever actually happened before. Ha ha ha. Right, Beatstar? Question mark.
Yeah. 2012 was the first year where that happened. It was because
Wow.
people, in terms of production, it was still a nascent award show. The way nascent. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. It's still an emerging award show that was like coming out of the fore, and people I think didn't know how to run this production process as efficiently as it is now. People were rendering right up to the stream date. So like people are making, they've got the speeches done, people doing all this stuff where, we've got the footage, you got to find the footage, you got to find the award clips of the individual nominees as well as one for the winner. You have the winner's speech that has to be written and then voice acted. And then you have to find the video person who then renders it into one video file. And then finally, and this is something that I don't think was done consistently until 2013 or 14, you got to find somebody who can bring this all into one big file to stream. So 2012 was a year where people were or somebody was streaming part 1 as part 2 was rendering. That little lead time to do it is incredibly stressful. And that was the case.
Sounds,
Was the case, unfortunately, for 2013 as well. So if you ever look at the Twitch stream for 2012 and 2013, if you go to our channel, Video Game Awards, you'll be able to see it all the way at the end. You'll be able to see a cursor that comes up and just drops in the fucking file like it's VLC. Drop it in. Boom, here's the next award, bitch.
Awesome.
Wow, what a cool transition.
Yeah.
What a cool transition.
Yeah, but I mean, it is kind of ragtag, and honestly, I mean, that really is what it was at the beginning. I mean,
That's punk rock, man.
Yeah, but that's not.
Yeah, kudos to you for making it work.
Yes, but that's not how it should be. You know, it's not how it should be.
No,
You should
certainly
not have to crunch your team just like you're AAA game developer who has huge
Rockstar.
budgets. Yes, yeah, like fucking Rockstar, man. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, like making sure it's sustainable, and so 2013 was released really late in the year too, because we started late. We started in December as opposed to other years where we start in August or September. So we started so late. And 2014 was a year we kind of snapped back and we had a lot of lead time to work with. And so whereas now we do start earlier in the year and we end up later, we give our team plenty of time to not only, we're running the voting process, running the nominations process, doing writing for the speeches. You have adequate time to do all of these things. And our video submission due date is many days before the award show. So we don't worry about that so much anymore. When, somebody slips up, we still have lead time, but it's not something where we want to crunch our team. It's very important to be on top of deadlines and being on top of knowing when things are due. That way, when we have this award show, it's something that's been looked at and polished twice over, so there's no mistakes.
Yeah.
And by that I mean misspelling. So sometimes some awards were misspelled. Also, sometimes some winners were misspelled, like the names of the games are misspelled. It's just simple shit like that. Like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to. You want the product to look great the first time, but especially when you're all finished with it. Yeah.
Right. I did notice that with the director's cuts, you were kind of to
Yes.
include the patch notes, like the correcting misspellings or
Yes.
adding in cut content, I suppose.
Yeah, and that also gives us adequate time to add in things that we thought were cool, but we didn't have time for. So 2023 is a great example, because not only do we have the Adventures of Ass, where it's clips that one of our video people did, and it's really great, really well done. But we also, for Redemption Arc Award, fully voiced it as well. So I think having that voiced in Japanese, and it was really cool to do. Really, really cool to do.
It was. As someone who's only seen the director's cut for 2023, I agree. I can't even imagine.
I was gonna say,
I guess, kind of like someone playing a FromSoft game,
Yes.
after experiencing the DLC already all out, going back to the original, being like, why are there so many areas missing? Why is the game incomplete?
Yes.
It's almost unfathomable.
Yeah. How I.
So real quick, back to the original question. We have rendered within 24 hours of stream date just about every year.
Wow.
There has been an exception the past 2 years, because last year we were about 3.5 days in advance. We had it, and then this year we had it close to a week in advance. Yeah, because we were not ready to go on the 2nd, but we were definitely ready on the 9th. And that's been a point in my administration to do that, because I like to show up on Saturday and be in the Discord with the fans who haven't seen it and have the energy to react and to enjoy it with them. I don't want to be, stressing the fuck out Friday night, staying up late, and then I wake up just in time for the show and, sipping down X amount of cans of Mountain Dew, just trying to watch it and be present.
Yeah.
No, I want to enjoy it with everybody else. This is for me too.
And
reactions,
that
see
goes
the smiling faces.
Yeah, that goes to the sustainability aspect of the project as well. Because if you crunch people that much, you only get so much of that too. Because the people are going to end up pissed that they had to do all that shit all at the last minute. You want to make sure you plan things out so it's the most fair as possible to their time.
One last aside, actually, was that a case for the Calvin Ball Award? Or
Oh,
was
no,
that
no,
just
no, no.
a joke.
Well,
So Calvin Ball was technically the last one made, but with or without Calvin Ball, we were not ready to roll on the 2nd.
It's actually a lot more innocuous of a reason.
yeah.
I'll explain because I'm kind of responsible. I was in Australia and New Zealand, and I was also streaming another another online project that is not related to the VGAs, but has people who also work on it. So anyway, I had a schedule conflict, and it just wouldn't have made sense to do it on that day when I'm in another country. So we just wanted to make sure that we had the opportune time, and that I wasn't begging Australian internet to work. So yeah, basically it's just making sure that it was all the stars lined up in terms of timing.
Right. Well,
Yeah. But yeah, I've already told Countertunes good luck because next year the Saturdays line up in a weird way because Saturday, March 1st, okay, that's technically March, but still doable. And then March 8th is International Women's Day. So do you want to air the 4chan award show on International
Why the fuck
Women's
not?
Day?
Wait, wasn't it? Let me see. When was that? Shit. The 8th, but the 8th was a Friday though, wasn't it?
This year, but next
okay,
year,
okay.
it's a Saturday.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yes. Not
Yeah,
my problem.
counter.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be
don't worry
fine.
about it.
Right on.
know,
Raccoons also asks, what are your favorite JRPGs? Either of you.
Any yeek heads?
Any what?
Yeek lovers?
Nope. Sorry, I'm not a yick enjoyer, but so obviously Secret of Mana, already mentioned it. Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, and 3, Pokemon Crystal. Yeah, if it's handheld, I'm much more likely to enjoy it because the mechanics are much more easy to consume. So like Lufia, The Legend Returns, the Etrian Odyssey series, Final Fantasy Tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics fucks. I am all about Final Fantasy Tactics, and they re-released Final Fantasy Legend on Steam. Where's FFT? Give me FFT, you asshole.
Yeah, you're talking about War of the Lions, the PSP version?
I played the original on PlayStation, but I've heard War of the Lions does one really cool thing. Sorry, another side here. So the rumor on the internet was that you could unlock the Gaff Guardian's Dark Knight class by like collecting 20 crystals from like downed enemies, right? That was the rumor on Game FAQs for a long ass time. And you know what they fucking did? They put it in War of the Lions. So that is now actually a hard requirement to unlock and use this class that was not available in the original. Like turning a rumor into fact is absurdly based. Like applaud it.
That's sick. Yeah. Yeah, honestly. Okay. What about you, Beatstar?
Mine, by comparison, is very surface level. I really enjoyed the Pokemon games. I was a fan of. I mean, I started at the first, red and blue, also red and green, and yellow, of course, yellow being that one, and then gold and silver, and then ruby and sapphire. I stopped after Gen 3. Another game that I really liked on the PS2, Inuyasha's Secret of Cursed Mask. That was pretty nice as well. But the modern games that I play is just fucking Yakuza. I mean, even though before 7 it was like beat 'em up, I still enjoy those RPG elements.
They were still RPGs.
Yeah.
They just had real time combat.
Yes.
Totally.
But yeah, I'm pretty easy when it comes to like JRPG. If you're talking about regular RPG, yeah, of course, Fallout New Vegas and sure, people meme about it, but Skyrim. Starfield sucked, though. People think, this is the game you're going to play for 10 years? Fuck no. But JRPG-wise, I mean, just those games. That I can think of off the top of my head. I'd probably have to look for a few more to see the ones that I fucked with.
It's tragic. No Earthbound lovers.
No, I'm not going to bullshit you and pretend that I knew, and all the inspiration.
And we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right on. And the last part of their question, you've sort of already answered as we spoke, is have developers ever reached out and acknowledged the existence of the show?
Yes. Immensely. If you go to our Discord, we have a thanks channel, and we publish pretty much all of the developer response that is tangible. In addition to that, of course, like as I mentioned, Caroline Marshall, I met with her twice, after the Game Awards. Sean Murray, I met after last year's Game Awards. So a lot of the developers, it was cool. It's like really nice to. It's interesting when you posit it as a 4chan award show. As I said, that's a starting point. So it's really nice to when people actually check us out, they realize what we're all about, and the good comes with the bad. It's not just a Razzies where it's just all shit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But a lot of game developers, they acknowledge it, and it's really interesting because it's sometimes the people you least expect to acknowledge the award show, and sometimes in the case of like Goodbye Volcano High, sure they never directly responded, but their PR outlets, they were definitely responsive. Both of them. They had propaganda, and then they went to Indie Heroes.
Just a quick addendum here. Just want to let you guys know that the PR firm for Goodbye Volcano High is actually Pop Agenda, not Propaganda. So that's Pop Agenda, not Propaganda. The other firm is Indie Heroes. Okay, back to the show.
But yeah, both of them, they know. And obviously, if you're doing the publicity for that game, you got to make sure you're up to date on all of these awards that your games are getting, positive or negative. And I think we're among the only ones that do this shit. So like, yeah, any awards, So a lot of developers are super responsive to the VGAs. And, sometimes it's only something they can't like actively acknowledge. But a lot of developers are very responsive. And I say it like this. If you can respond to us, you can respond to any of your customers. I think so. Even if you're fucking nominated for worst, crimes against gaming, I think it's a starting point. You obviously have to put the work in, and whatever you're being nominated for and why you're being nominated for it, try and address that too. But it's really great. It's really because this is something where there is no bonus points. You don't like, there is no like, oh, congratulations, you responded to the 4chan award show. No, there isn't that at the end of the day. And some people who are opposed to what we do is like, oh, you responded to the 4chan award show? What are you, some alt-writers? It's like, nah, fuck that, man. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy like the response we get for the VR awards, because those developers, they worked on Fallout New Vegas or Grand Theft Auto or fucking Conker's Bad Fur Day. They did they did that shit 20 years ago, and they have the kind of perspective that I'm still trying to gain right now. So for them, it's just like a kooky little award show, and it's just nice to be remembered.
And the Flash Award developers, that was an amazing category because so many of them responded back. And ironically, for instance, the Super Smash Flash brothers, or that team, they're still making projects. They're making frame makers. So there you go. Yeah.
Back then,
and
long time
we've
ago.
met with them, so it's like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Being able to see your work grow over time and seeing the next projects that you're working on, it's really nice. Really, really nice. But yeah, the categories, the fact that we have so many categories in which a game can be nominated for gives a lot of developers that opportunity. As I mentioned before, Pizza Tower developers, the Cruelty Squad developers, you do have that opportunity for a fair shot on this award show.
Yeah. Oh, right on.
For the people, by the people. It's a real, when you think about it, the VGAs are kind of a communist, socialist award show, really. They're the thinking man's award show,
Oh yes, yes indeed, quite intellectual.
Yeah.
Smokes pipe.
And it's not, again, it's not without fault, but I think what we've done for the time that we've done, I feel that we've done a really good job. There's always room to improve. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. I think we are looking forward to next year and seeing what we're able to create, and it is a work in progress. Everything that we're doing it for the next one. And a lot of people are like, why do they keep on holding the Game Awards? Well, the answer is not a lot of people think about it. The answer is to make another one. They want to make another one. They want to keep on making another one. It's the same deal with ours. We want to keep on making the Video Game Awards as long as we can, as long as it's feasible to do and everyone's on board. We're going to keep on doing it, until 4chan dies. If 4chan dies, then I don't know what the fuck we'll do. But until then, I feel like we've got a great purpose and a great team to work with.
Yes, keep on making them. They're the perfect capsules of that year in the internet. Do not stop. Even if 4chan stops, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, you guys have a community and a base. So.
Just don't go to 8chan.
Ay.
All right, Beatstar, our esteemed hosts have a fan question that they'd like us badly to answer. So, do you think Angry Joe is a handsome Joe?
No.
You don't find him to be beautiful?
I mean, he's old school, but man, there's just something that rubs me the wrong way about that guy. Sometimes, I mean, and people make mistakes, and people can grow from that. But it's like, sure, his name is Angry Joe, so of course he's pissed off sometimes. But I mean, like sometimes when it's like, oh my god, you guys are not making, I can't make money off of uploading your game. Like that was kind of, okay, that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Just do you find him attractive?
No, I
That's
do
the
not.
question.
I do not.
All right. Well,
That's all we needed to
there we
know.
go. That's all.
Yeah, I do not swing
All right.
that way. Sorry.
Yeah, Joe, get at it. He's not interested.
Nah.
Yep, sorry, Joe.
All right. Well, that was our last question from the community. Last but not least, we just have our plugs. Where can our viewers and listeners find you guys? If you have any social media handles you'd like to promote, and or if there are any current projects you'd like to plug right now. Now is your chance.
Base.
All right. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just keeping that anonymous spirit alive. DonnyQ is his own
There you go.
entity. I do freelance voice direction for some indie video games. If you happen across them, I hope you enjoy them. If I end up doing some voice acting myself and not just direction, if you come across it, I hope you enjoy it. But honestly, yeah, that's it. It's been a pleasure to be on here, guys. You've been excellent hosts. Thank you for having
Thank you.
us.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I don't work within the industry. My day job is totally separate from gaming. Beatstar.me goes to my Medium article. No, it goes to my Twitter, I think. Anyway, I wrote a 2-part memoir. I'm writing part 3 very soon called Blackjack and Hookers, about the first years of working on the VGAs. And immediately after the Game Awards 22, it was kind of like impactful on me. So that's beatstar.me. And if you want to go to the VGA's website, quickest way to do it, vgas.xyz. Our web developer put that in. I'm like, shit. I remember one time I was trying to spell it all out. Anyway, but yeah, focus on the award show. The award show is an amazing project. Feel free to watch any of our years, videogameawards.com or vgas.xyz. vgas.xyz. Yeah, and yeah, thanks for having us on here. We really appreciate it.
Yes, gentlemen,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being on here. It's been an education. It's been very insightful, very enjoyable conversation.
Basically, the oral history of the internet, I feel.
Yes, very good time. As always, viewers and listeners, you can find Nick and I'm the Super Sammy Com on Twitter. Nick is Somebody Stop Me with two eyes, Nintendo style.
Love gaming.
And yes, we have been Video Ditch for this week. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hopefully we could have another chat. Would love that in the future.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
And yes, until next time, viewers and listeners, just keep on gaming
Yeah, keep on gaming in the
Peace.
free world.
in the free world. Yeah.
Keep rocking in the free
Bye.
world and doot-doodle-loot-doot.
Finally.
Doot, doot.
There you
you go.
Hell yeah. Yeah.